Hey guys, people in the chat, say hello to Trisha Todd 22 and let her know whether or not I'm a vouch-worthy buyer in the industry, because I'm trying to get a card from Trisha.
You're about to get trolled.
But Trisha needed some vouches. So if anybody out there can send a vouch, or warn her if she should not do a deal with me.
I mean, she's definitely going to get overpaid, so she should take the deal. I don't even know what it is, but I know you're overpaying.
No doubt. What do you think it is? Give a guess.
Michael Porter Jr. So you're asking which Christian McCaffrey card? Is that the question? Let's see.
The question.
I hope it's the 2017 black.
Not that good. But speaking of which, I do have a mail day. I
Oh,
don't even think you know that I got this.
Is this a rookie?
No.
Is Emergent a subset like the Luka you have?
No. Well, Emergent is an insert, and the Luka that we have is also an insert, but it's the Luck of the Lottery one. So, yeah.
But it's similar. Like
yeah, 2019 Finite Black 1 of 1. Very excited about it. I have another mail day, too.
How do you find this shit?
Good question. Okay. This one very topical. We don't often get unambiguous endorsements, but this one rings real loud and clear. For those who don't know, this is Ken Golden, proprietor of one of the hobby's most elite and prestigious auction houses, and perhaps the hobby's most outspoken and visible ambassador. And at the National, Ken was kind enough to put an inscription on one of his cards for us that says, and I quote, "To Card Ladder, my favorite app." So Ken, just wanted to say thanks. Also showing off mail days today, but we never really showed this one off. The inscription was just magical. Makes this priceless, better than a 1 of 1. And for those who aren't already watching Ken's live show on Instagram, make sure to check it out. And just know Ken has a favorite app. Ken has a favorite app, and it's called Card Ladder. And I have the written proof here, just so you know.
Inscriptions are the best, by the way. You know why? Because it's personal, and it's, people are speaking the truth through their inscriptions, and they say what they feel. And the non-inscription is just sort of this scribbled, I'm just rushing through to get to this job. But the inscription is you pause, you think, and you say, what do I want to say to this person?
Well, you know why in law certain contracts of over a year in length or other certain things are put in writing. It's because there's something more significant about putting something in writing than just speaking it. So, Ken joined. Ken, we were just showing this card off. One of my prized possessions.
Can you get that? Can we get that PSA slabbed? Authentic?
I think we need to get that slabbed as a PSA 10. The centering's good. Top to bottom is good. That's a beaut. Thank you, Ken. Like I said, guys, check out Ken live on Thursday nights. Okay. Did anything happen? Did anything happen this week, Josh, that was of note in our industry?
I was sleeping most of the week. I probably missed it. Why don't you, actually, you know what? Let's use our amazing chat and followers and community and friends to lead us with these questions.
The chat, huh? Well,
the questions you have prepared. I'm sure you got a ton of questions. Someone made a story that was like, I got a peek at Chris's ledger, and there's a ton of questions coming.
Ton of questions, and I'm kind of wanting to tease it a little bit. We're definitely going to talk about the Fanatics news, But I wanted to do something first. In fact, in honor of that card, because there's two big Premier Elite auctions running right now. One launched today, which was PWCC's, and one is ending tomorrow night. I guess it's not technically a Golden Elite, but it's full of great cards. So there's a Golden one ending tomorrow night. So let's spend a few minutes as people come in and we get ready to talk about Fanatics, and maybe people can get their comments and their questions ready about Fanatics. But I already have a ton of them from people. But let's go over these auctions. There we go. So here's Golden's auction, which is ending in 23 hours. This auction's ending in 23 hours. So what do we have here, Josh?
This is the 8.5 LeBron RPA. It's currently sitting at 960 pre-BP. The Brady Champ ticket, is it just me or is everyone selling their Brady Champ tickets? There's like 12 that have sold in the last, couple months here, I guess. Maybe it's overpriced. Maybe the LeBron is too. There's been a lot of LeBron selling. This one's gotten hot pretty recently. 9.5. Jordan, that one's sitting at 121. Wow. 1 of 1. Trout, these are cool. The XRC Mahomes Gold. I believe I know the owner of this one. 121. The shit ton of Mahomes Optics. Kobe Red. Walter Payton PSA 10. Jordan Fleer at 240. That's interesting. Seems like those are kind of leveling off a little bit. Ooh, Baker Mayfield Shield. That's cool.
A pretty badass card. I saw that when I was scrolling earlier today. You're not going to see that one come up too often, probably.
I'm going to say there's one that sticks out a little bit. There's a Kyler Shield, non-autograph though. Maybe not as interesting, but still cool. 14,000. There's a Herbert Optic Contenders Nebula 1 of 1. There's a rare one. That one's at 17. The Herbert stuff there's a lot of Herbert stuff. I wonder if people are kind of tying it with him early in the season.
I think so. What do you think about Baker, Josh?
I think he's gonna have a hard time gaining a much bigger of a market because we kind of like know who he is at this point. I don't think he quite is going to be at that next tier of the Mahomes type stuff ever, because he's just not as elite of a quarterback, and he's going to be carried by his team for the most part. So I think he's a good player, and middle of the pack quarterback, middle of the pack fantasy, doesn't really get the blood flowing for collectors as much anymore. But I think he's still he'd be a fun player to collect. I'll say that, because he's got a lot of bravado. He's a fun player.
Got some endorsements going. You'll never grow tired of seeing him on the commercials during all the games.
Yeah, I think those are hilarious. I think he's really good in those.
He is good in those. I agree.
He's got like the Peyton Manning sort of like dryness to him, like the sarcastic sort of like dryness. I think he's funny.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He just needs to stop making open field tackles after he throws interceptions.
He's been hurt several times doing that.
Which is worse, Lamar getting hurt cartwheeling into the end zone, or Baker getting hurt with poor form open field tackle separating his frickin' shoulder?
I saw definitely Mayfield. I saw a meme that was like, how they're like flagging people more for the like taunting thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh, I guess you're not allowed to like taunt at all unless you're Lamar Jackson flipping into the end zone. That's allowed. That's not a taunt. He's just having fun.
No doubt. All right. Yeah, look, at Jordan Jambalaya. A few of those have come out.
36 for BGS9.
36. Okay.
I don't want to like be the undervalued guy, but I feel like BGS9 is sort of settling in as this like forgotten grade a little bit. You know what I mean? Like everyone wants PSA 10, BGS 9.5, PSA 9. Does anyone care about BGS 9 anymore? I think they're cool.
Their BGS 9 has a small but cult-like following.
Because it's kind of like the perfect niche for a collector, where like they can have their subgrades and know what it is, but not have to pay the premiums of a 9.5. So there's a lot of people that collect BGS 9s exclusively.
There is, that's no doubt. Okay, look at this. Look at this. I'm on Card Ladder checking out the Jordan Jambalaya BGS.
Oh!
Okay. Look at the last sold. The card last sold for 30 grand over a year ago.
Got a ways to go to that CL value.
Note it's only one bar, the lowest level confidence. But yeah, it's got a way to go. Oh, and that sale was with Golden. There you go.
Excellent. I'm looking for something interesting. This is all cool stuff. 80 pages, Chris. There's a lot. I thought this isn't like one of their bigger auctions, right? It's like a in between one, but
no, the next one is going to be the monster, but there's still some great stuff in this one though.
Oh, the quality is good. The quantity is also there. 80 pages. These are cool. I think they're kind of cheap. This one's only at $2,000. I think these are. I mean, what's
manufactured patch, right?
I mean, isn't that people don't care about that? Freaking people buying LaMelo Ball.
Right.
Anything else that you want to touch on the Golden auctions?
No. We could spend 2 hours just going through it. There's some. I mean, look at that. That's a 2013 select. That's a card. That's right in my alley. That's a sweet card.
Golden is the master of getting all the 101s. I feel like they have a ton of 101 blacks and stuff.
Yep. Okay. Let's we gave Golden this auction's got a lot of hidden gems, way more than what we just showed, guys. It ends tomorrow night as well. So then PWCC, their premier auction, I think this is their 5th. What's up, Carvin? I think this is their 5th. It launched it launched today. So There's some pretty sweet stuff here also.
I mean, you can't have an auction without a Brady champ ticket.
I guess not. Every auction needs to have at least one of the 86 Fleer Jordan PSA 10, the Brady champ ticket, and the LeBron exquisite RPA.
Look at that one. LeBron, KD, and Kevin Garnett triple logo, man. That's cool.
Very cool.
I'm probably like, oh, it just started today. I gotta shift my mind. These started today and Golden ends tomorrow. These probably will be a little bit lower.
Right.
Oh, look at that one. That's a 10-10. People are gonna go nuts. People are gonna go crazy for that one.
Yeah. I imagine there's not too many of those out there.
I like the 99s better, but the market seems to want the lower numbered parallels of the RPAs more. I'm not, what it is, but so that one's going to go for a lot.
Yeah. Do you think it can match? Is the perception of that card on par with the perception of the gold NT Mahomes 9.5?
No, because that patch on that gold is just, pretty ridiculous. So probably not. But PSA 10 premium might have something to say about that.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa! Look at this guy.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
That's a big one right there, right? He's pretty good.
That's going to be very telling. Although I suppose this auction will end when the NBA season has begun, so the Trey peak will have been missed.
It's like right before. Oh no, he's playing. I like how Luka ones get to the same price. The people have spoken. They want Luka over Trey in Card World at least.
Oh, you see, there's a Jambalaya Jordan 9.5 there as well.
The PWCC got the higher grade of the Jambalaya, but Golden got the higher grade of the Gold XRC Mahomes. How do you think people decide? It's a tough choice. Like, where do I send? Do I send Golden or PWCC? Do you think it's like who they're comfortable with, the relationships? Because both companies do very well with pricing. I think we've seen that over the years. Each of them kind of serve their own market, but now that they have the Premier and Golden has theirs, it's really hard to, as like an individual, how do you decide? And people ask us all the time, what do we do? And it's like, it's hard for us to give a pitch when we're sort of in the middle here.
Yeah, no doubt. But yeah, so look, guys, there are two, and we had a drought there for a period of time when Golden was selling comic books and video games and PWCC was navigating and setting up their new platform, but we didn't have any big time auctions going. Okay, so now we have 2 again. So enjoy them, go browse them and peruse them. What shirt was that you had on? Yeah, let's go. Yep. Very nice. Very nice. Card letter merch. All right. Enough.
All right, we got a lot to do.
Yeah. Enough messing around here. First up, we had a boatload of questions on Fanatics. And in our normal fashion, let's just bring everybody up to speed quickly. I'm going to be citing an article on sportscollectorsdaily.com written by Rich Mueller. Okay. The great Rich Mueller. Okay. Headline, Ruben, absolutely possible Fanatics will buy a current card maker. Fanatics gobbled up the licenses to the 3 major sports. Ruben says that his company's recent blockbuster move was confirmed to a CNBC audience. Okay, so let's just talk about that for a second. It got confirmed, all right? So whereas this was rumors and speculation, Ruben came out and confirmed it. What Ruben says, quote, this is really a completely different vision for the trading card industry. If you really think about the collector experience, it's pretty brutal today. You've got to buy primary cards with so many people kind of in the middle of it. Then you sell the card somewhere else. Then you get it graded by somebody else. Then you store it with somebody else. This is about our vision to create an incredible collector experience. While not tipping his hand, Ruben says it's absolutely possible they'll acquire Topps or Panini. And I'm just seeing if there's any other key bullet points here. Exploding market makes for a highly profitable business. Ruben's goal seems to be to grow profits by streamlining how cards get to collectors. Earlier this summer, Ruben was among the investors who purchased CCG, which is the parent company of CSG, which began grading sports cards earlier this year. The Fanatics deals run 15 to 20 years, and they give the leagues and player association partial ownership. Earlier this week, the Wall Street Journal reported Fanatics raised $350 million in Series A from several VCs. Fanatics, it's clear that Fanatics is focused on a younger generation. Final quote here from Ruben. The most important part, this is really a financial asset of the younger generation, and I believe that with a great collector experience, we can grow this business many times. Okay, there's your recap. Rich Mueller always does a great job, by the way. I would subscribe to his emails and everything else. All right, let's get to some questions. But first, do you have any general reactions to Rich's article or to the news that you want to get out before we get to questions?
Yeah, I've had time to think about it. You know, I think it's been a couple of days now. My initial reaction was that Ruben was really speaking to investors, speaking to, you know, board members, people involved in the financial aspect of it, and speaking to them on like how he plans to capture profits in the industry that he feels is unoptimized, you know, for profit taking, and he can do a better job of that. And he wasn't really speaking to collectors because clearly if he thought the collecting portion of it was brutal, then he wouldn't be investing as much money and time and resources into it as he is. So I think you know, no time to panic yet. We still haven't seen actual moves be made. It's just talk right now. I'm not a big fan of the like, I bought this thing, you guys suck at it, let me fix it for you, without actually understanding the industry. Like I get that it's like the tactic of, you know, the business side of things, but I don't really agree with it holistically for the hobby. It doesn't really quite sit too well with me, because if it's so brutal, then, you know, how the hell is this been such a booming, successful thing over the last 2 years, you know, especially the last 2 years and over the last 100 years, if you want to get into it. If it's so brutal, then why do people, and the other side of that is like, you know, you and I have talked about on the show even that we like the sort of difficulty of the whole process. It kind of makes it more fun. It makes it more gratifying when you are able to acquire a card. And some of these cards, dude, like what I wanted to say, and now that I've thought about it, is like, even with Fanatics coming in and doing this stuff, they're still not going to serve a huge portion of this market, which is the portion that you and I live in, which is rare cards, older cards that have already been printed, you know, high grade. So there's always going to be that sort of niche market. He's serving a different market, which is more like replacing sort of maybe like the breaker side of things, which is like new product coming out and how to efficiently get that out to people at a lower cost, like more retail driven costs. And then, you know, they would able to capture those, cut out the distributors, etc. Like he's just talking about that really. And then he may want to try to capture some of the, more rare niche market by just creating one-of-one cards and creating some more rare cards and grading them specifically. But that sort of stuff isn't going to appeal to you and I, because we don't like manufactured one-of-ones, and we don't like false scarcity. We prefer like historical scarcity and actual rare things that have, proven true in the past over time. So like, he's not going to be able to really take over exactly what we are into in the card community. It's not an exact replica. Fanatics is trying to, take a slice of it. And so I think everyone's still going to be okay. Clearly the distribution model, the card shops are going to be disrupted. Breakers are going to be disrupted. That's obviously a huge, huge chunk. So I'm not making light of it that those folks, could have massive changes coming their way. Just sort of trying to calm the nerves of the entire hobby that it's not going to be totally uprooted and everything's going to be, monopolized and completely different. These things will take time. We'll have to see what actions are actually made. But if you don't like the stuff that they come out with, you don't like the product, then just, don't buy it. Go look for something else. Find your own niche. Try to have fun with it as much as you can. And also, frankly, we still have a couple more years before this even happens. And we know a lot can happen in a couple years. So I don't know. I'm just kind of rambling at this point. Jump in when you're ready.
No, it's really good. So first thing I want to say is that I was talking to a couple of guys, and they said really the doomsday scenario, doom and gloom / conspiracy theorizing is just totally over the top, and there's so much yet to be proven, and people just need to relax. And while I think that's good advice for any individual to take, like Aaron Rodgers, RELAX, one game. Okay, while that's good advice for people to take, this exact moment in time is a different moment in time, because right now it's so early. Ruben had not even confirmed that this was actually happening and that he was involved until yesterday. It wasn't even publicly confirmed. So we're at a point right now where it's very malleable, where this thing can go in many different directions. They clearly have plans, but it can go in many different directions. And I can confirm that Fanatics is very interested, Fanatics Trading Cards, in hearing from collectors and hearing from the community. Yesterday, to my Instagram story, I put over 90, or I think I put exactly 90 different DMs and or comments that people had sent to me, giving their feedback and their input on Fanatics. And then, without violating anybody's anonymous nature, somebody important at Fanatics reached out and said, could we collect all those? And so I gave them to them. And it's all anonymous. Every single thing that got posted in my story was anonymous.
Wow.
Nobody's identity was revealed. Okay.
That's breaking news, motherfucker.
Okay. So
yeah.
This is why it's important at this moment that collectors let their voice be heard. And you can influence what's going to happen. I feel like you have something to say on this.
No, that's fucking amazing. Keep going. I didn't know that. You didn't tell me this. So is this kind of that thing, Chris, where we just kind of assume that the monopoly is just going to crush us all, and the big corporate guy is just going to come in and clobber us. But to hear them reach out to you directly and be like, we need customer feedback, because as I've said a million times, if you don't build things that customers want, what are you doing? If you don't have customers to buy the thing, and if you're not listening to your customers and building something that they want, then it's going to fucking fail. So that is why when he said, it's brutal, I was like, well, come on, guy, it's not brutal. There's some inefficiencies and you can make it better. All he had to say, literally, if I was a PR person on that team, there's things that we are very interested in this industry. There's a lot of promise. We're putting a lot of money into this. We feel there's a ton of upside to this, and we see some places to increase the efficiency to make things better and easier for collectors, and we are attempting to disrupt the market and make it better. That's all they had to say. And then every collector would have been like, boom.
Totally. I know. And you know what? I have a feeling that when the place and time emerges, which really is like right now, for Ruben and Fanatics Trading Cards to come out and address the collectors and the community, I think they will have a message that is very much like that. I go back to what you said before. That message was clearly tailored to a personality on CNBC who had questions relating to Fanatics valuation, and that was very much a boardroom style discussion, right?
Agreed.
So here's one critique I have, though, and this is not my idea, but I'm gonna articulate it. And I don't know if the person whose idea it is would want credit for it, but I do know he's in the chat and he's often listening. But here's the idea. And so if he does want credit, speak up. I'd love to credit you, but I also understand it's important sometimes to have anonymous points of view. So I'm just going to express it. The hobby right now, its fuel and its lifeblood are all the entrepreneurial outlets that it has. Breaking. Think about the phenomenon of breaking and how it was just invented out of thin air, and then it became an important part of the fuel of the industry. You have breakers, you have card shops, grading companies, data tracking platforms such as ours, manufacturers, distributors. They are all motivated to continue to auction houses, marketplaces. They're all motivated to continue to push the hobby up and to bring more people in, because they have skin in the game, because they're entrepreneurs. Because when this hobby, and the bigger the hobby pie grows, the bigger that pie grows, the better off everybody who's an entrepreneur and a stakeholder in this business does. The risk with the Fanatics monopoly is that you convert all of that entrepreneurial energy into bureaucratic stagnation. And so whereas everybody now, it's all entrepreneurs, it's all self-funded, or capitalized, however it's capitalized, it's all self-driven, it's self-motivated, and there's skin in the game. So people get the benefit, they reap the rewards themselves. We all have this incentive to push this industry bigger and stronger and keep it going. If all of the stakeholders and the business owners get replaced by middle management and by minimum wage employees, that's a total paradigm shift from a model of entrepreneurship to a bureaucratic style model, where managers are in cover your ass mode constantly, and employees and managers have no incentive to take risks or to try to maximize things. That was an excellent point that I heard somebody make, that I think, there we go. The person who has who came up with it may have, I don't know. I don't want to, whatever. Okay. So I wanted to give a voice to that point of view because I think it's extremely insightful. And once I heard it, I couldn't forget it. It made a lot of sense.
And the entrepreneurial spirit is generally driven by genuine interest, because the entrepreneur got into that space because they were already involved in it in some regard. And they thought, let me just go further with this and build a business out of it. Whereas the monopoly bureaucratic approach is just profit driven. So it's just like, I just need to do my job, and, I care less about the community, in general. So to hear that they are reaching out. So I want to ask you then very directly, you've seen all those comments, you gathered them up, you posted a story, you've obviously consumed a lot of that information. Try to sum up as best you can what the community feels about this. And what are they projecting out into the world, into the ether? Is it anger, fear? Is it, fear, but a little bit of optimism if, given the right chance to get your information out? What do you think?
Yeah, I didn't get a uniform opinion. I got many different opinions, and I'll give you a sample of the opinions. I'll do this quickly. All right, so here's what I had asked. I said, what do you think Ruben's vision is for the hobby? And here's some of the stuff that people had to say. Seems uninformed, but a lot of questions still unanswered. One-sided. If he thinks he can make the hobby experience better, it's worth giving him a shot. I hope they don't lean too much into digital. Collectors will always want the physical card. Yes, good. I endorse that. Pipe dream. Direct-to-consumer will do more harm than good. Hobby ecosystem of shops dies. Ruben is aiming to get rid of inefficiencies, but these inefficiencies are a reason why a lot of us like the hobby. Maybe we could pause here for a second and just talk about this, because this concept came up over and over and over again. Probably 10 different people spoke to this idea, that the inefficiencies of the hobby, the friction points of the hobby, the fact that you can't just get a card right in your hand, or the fact that marketplaces are fragmented, and the fact that somebody else does grade it, and somebody else.
Why?
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. Because this is my hobby and I'm doing it for fun. I don't want it to be a 10-minute-a-day thing where I just come in and get my job done. I don't want it to be efficient. I want to have to spend time doing it, and I want to keep myself busy with it. people that do hobbies go into their office and want to like tinker around on things, right? They want to keep their mind busy and moving on something interesting. And if I just go into a site, buy the thing, and wait, and it arrives at my door, it doesn't even arrive at my door. I buy the thing, it's graded, I get a 10, I make money. There's no fun in that. There's nothing keeping me busy. It's just like I just turn on the autopilot of profit making, and nobody wants. I don't want that.
No doubt. No doubt. What's the buzzword for this? Gamification.
Yes.
It's already been gamified. You don't need to gamify it. It's already there. It's already there.
It's just the world's weirdest game.
So maybe that's the Kissinger-esque middle path.
So what did you say? What did you say to them? Did you hand over all the feedback, and what was the conversation?
We gave them all these slides. That's why I have all these slides ready.
Who's them?
I don't want to disclose any names, but it was somebody associated with Fanatics trading cards.
Okay, so here's some more feedback. Fanatic got this feedback. Okay, somebody said this is a bad move. Distributors make sure that they sell out. This was in defense of distributors. So distributors make sure that they sell out, and most importantly, that they don't get stuck with bad product releases. That's one of the perils of distribution. They get stuck with the bad. Assuming they can go to direct to consumer is illogical and implies all releases will be perfect. Okay. His response of removing the people in the middle and going straight to consumer makes sense from a business, but I don't know if it's actually helping our hobby, basically. I like the words, but let's see what happens in practice. We need to make them hear us. Okay, this was an excellent point, too. We need to make them hear us now. We see a big problem with the one-stop shop. So this is key, right? Because this person understands that this is the moment to make your voice heard. My 2 cents. Fanatics is blind if they think this market is built on pure collectors. Most people in the hobby have a little margin and some skin in the game. If Fanatics comes in and takes everyone's margin away, then what? Most people are putting their profits back into the market, and that's part of the massive increase in value. What do you think?
We're seeing it now, though. I mean, I get it, but we're already seeing that now without Fanatics, big time. Like the grading companies, first and foremost, put a major stop to that for the most part, and those margins are already cut back, and we're still seeing growth. So I understand it. It makes sense, like that people would be frustrated they're not making money, so they want to get out. But like I said earlier, the Fanatics is not going to be able to replace the segment of the hobby where I still think there's a good opportunity for entrepreneurship and flipping, whatever, if that's what you want to call it, which is, the rare niche market of the hobby and the rare cards and different sets and things like that. They're not going to be able to like just squash all that over. So there's still a pretty good area for margins in some of those places. It's just we're talking about margins on grading and flipping and retail and wax and stuff. So that stuff for sure, those margins are going away. I do though, like, as someone who's not involved in the wax game, one of the things that turns me off about it is like it's so unbelievably expensive, and I just being a little bit naive here, but isn't the primary reason it's so expensive is it has to go through so many different channels to get to me, and everyone's taking their cut, and eventually I'm the one that pays $1,500 for a box that yields $200 worth of cards. If a box of cards was $100 again for a decent one and $500 for a high-end one, like I would definitely get more involved. So I think there is some silver lining here to like some of these things being changed. I realize that's at the expense of distributors and potentially breakers and LCS shops. Just, thinking about this from the customer's perspective, it could potentially make the retail cheaper, which I know has been a huge, huge problem for customers. Is like, I don't want to pay $2,000 for a box of Hobby Prism and then I get one silver that's worth $100 and I'm screwed.
Yeah. So there's another good solution point for Fanatics is like use the increasing efficiency to reduce markups. That's the way to really, really win over collectors here under this new model. But I'm a little bit apprehensive because I do think that a lot of the projections and modeling that's being done for what Fanatics is going to do, like internally and what's being shared with investors, is based around current resale prices. So, maybe, hopefully there's a middle ground there. But, if Fanatics introduces stuff to the consumer at a cheaper price and then on resale markets it's going for 2 to 3x, but Fanatics controls the resale market, like they own that platform and they're the ones who are selling it the first time, maybe they'll be able to take enough pieces from enough different parts of the pie that there will be plenty of margin left for the consumer too.
Well, we tried this with First Off the Line, and it was cool, except that nobody opened it, and they just flipped it for 3x. So, like, you're right. It would just immediately, like, my little idea just goes out the window when nobody opens it for the product that it is, and they just flip it. So
yeah, but here's what's interesting about First Off the Line too, though. They even when Panini went to Dutch auctions, still those items that anybody could have bought via Panini's Dutch auction show up on eBay and other secondary marketplaces, and within 1, 2, 3 days they're already selling for 20, 30, 40, 50% more than they were selling at the Dutch auction. It's almost impossible. You can't capture it. Like, there's something about the marketplaces, about the flow, about the marketplace of eBay that just drives these increasing resale values.
But if Fanatics releases a product that we all like, and let's call it Chromium Prism. They release it, and they're like, you know what, we're going to throw a bone to the collectors. We'll see how this goes. We're going to retail this at $150 a box. And then they see online that they're selling in secondary markets on Instagram and eBay and whatever for like $1,000. Guess what's going to happen for the next release? Their board members are going to be like, why the fuck are we selling that stuff for $150? Right. Sell it for $1,000. That's what it goes for. And then the very next, like, it's already over.
Right. Okay, exactly. All right, let's fire through some more of this feedback.
Chromism.
Very dynamic time. We're going off-roading. It could be epic or it could suck. I'm optimistic. I think Ruben is right. An old school card collector should expect and embrace change. I was looking through eBay. Oh, this was a funny one. I was looking through eBay for extremely long hours last night and realized Panini makes some pretty damn beautiful cards. Besides exquisite, nothing compares. We will truly miss them. The sentimentality is already setting in.
That's gonna be big, by the way. People are gonna romanticize the shit out of Panini.
It's inevitable at this point, isn't it? And everything's gonna be looked back on much more fondly than it's. That's why I asked Ken last week, "What's Panini's legacy?" You know, I mean, I'm already thinking like that. How does this stuff age?
The gold prism stuff is going insane, and I bet you a part of that is speculation that they're not going to make gold prisms anymore.
Yeah.
And but the reason I said the word romanticize is because they're going to be seen as like this small, like, startup compared to Fnatic. Remember when it was just those little guys, Panini, making cards? That was fun. I miss those days when it was just simpler, just little old Panini, this $3 billion company, just such a little company, just making all these great looking cards. These inserts were fantastic. They only cared about the collectors. They made rare parallel. Man, remember when they used to make only 50 parallels instead of 4,000? I mean, man, I miss those days.
Good Lord. Okay, Jose says people don't appreciate what they have until it's gone. LeBron cards to the moon. nice connection there. All right. What Ruben calls brutal is fun for most of us. Rip, wax, assess, grade, store. Sell.
Yeah, that was my take, basically.
Totally. Okay. I was surprised that the first words out of Ruben's mouth were brutal experience. Really? Okay, it's ambitious. I'll give him that. They could kill the hobby. Still in wait-and-see mode. Arrogant, and he needs a better communications person. Too soon to tell, but he'll probably figure out how to keep our majority content. If they stay true to making the hobby better for the collector, I'm excited. We'll skip over some of these longer ones. Great business model. The consolidation and unifying direct-to-consumer business that Netflix began is now coming to cards. I heard direct-to-consumer a handful of times in this interview. I'm in favor. He wants all the money. Corporate greed is in full effect. He sees the market as difficult for collectors, but it's too early to tell. Ruben was tone deaf, a random person with no insight into the hobby or what collectors think. Ruben comes off as not really understanding the collector, which is a little bit scary. It's just another chapter in the hobby, which will bring more value to the cards we already own. Okay, there's a few questions on this. MJ Collector 1 million says, how does Fanatics news impact collectors' focus on 90s and early 2000s? And when I reshared this, how does this Fanatics news affect like 90s and 2000s cards? A bunch of people DM'd me and were like, "Yes, please talk about this."
I want to say something smart, but I don't. How does it change it? I don't understand. What am I missing?
I don't know. I don't know either. I think one of the thoughts out there is that maybe Fanatics takes a while to get its legs under itself. or maybe it just doesn't pan out, and we have this weird period of like very little new products for a period of time with cards. And so I think people are sort of thinking like, how does this play out for old cards in the events that, you know, the new cards struggle a little bit?
I mean, I don't really know how the hockey release went for like the, you know, the remake of all the Skybox stuff. I'd have to research that more, but I could see a world where Fanatics, you know, wants to tap into the nostalgia of the 90s stuff and kind of like recreate some of that. And so there could be a race to get to the original stuff in the 90s and some sort of, you know, nostalgia kick into the 90s cards more. I mean, I just don't ever really see, like, clearly pretty biased here. I own a lot of 90s cards, full disclosure. So, like, I guess I'm just not ever seeing why you would want to get away from collecting the 90s if that's what you're passionate about, given outside influence. Like, if that's what you like, just keep doing it. There's nothing really that should stop you from doing it. And there's always going to be people that are into there's people that still collect 1950 Topps baseball. So, like, you know, we got a good 40-year runway here for people wanting and having demand for 90s cards, and the stuff here just early 2000s. So, like, just keep collecting it. Don't really worry about it too much. Like I said earlier, Fanatics can't get at this portion of the hobby, so keep doing your thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's the bottom line. I know there's some thinking out there too that look, you know, if anything goes awry with modern cards, with contemporary cards, that places more interest and more value in the stuff that's already made, that's already in existence. I've heard that from a few people.
That's been my take for a while, and you've heard me say that to you directly, but I've sort of been convinced that we definitely need the modern product to be successful in order for the whole market to be interested in the wider range of it. Like, if the modern stuff, if the modern stuff completely crashed, I think that's bad for, you know, the value of the older stuff. Now, that may be good for people that want to start saving money and getting stuff cheaper. But I think if your interest is driven by the fact that it has the ability to grow in value over time and sort of see this slow upward trajectory, then I think you may want to root for Panini. I don't think it's good for you as a 90s collector to hope that one of these guys fuck it up. I don't think that's quite the right path. Do you agree?
Yes, I do agree with that. And look, you know, what if let's say tomorrow they just stopped making new sports cards? Well, then we have an industry that looks something like video games or sealed VHS, where there's just everything that's being collected is nostalgic and from the past. I'm not saying that would happen. What I'm saying is there are models and blueprints out there for industries that are emerging surrounding collectibles that are not constantly having the invigorating infusion of new releases every week. So I don't think that it's a total bleak scenario, but I am completely of the school of thought that new product, new releases, energy, and all of those things being tied into the leagues as the leagues are happening and the way the schedules unfold. And then, like, the values and the markets for those cards has an indirect relationship to the market for older cards, because the narratives and the legacies of the active players is constantly conjuring up the image and the legacy of the older players. And there's constantly an assessment going on of where do people rank in the hierarchies and so forth, top 75 lists, top 10 lists. I just think it's a very symbiotic and good force in the hobby, having new product and the way it's tied to live sports.
And you know how we have this like reboot thing going on with people collecting 90s because they were kids 90s. We've done the whole thing a million times. There's not going to be that reboot for sealed video games because there's no, you know, it's not like you're going to reboot on, oh, remember when I used to collect sealed video games on this era? Now I want to collect the new era. I want to get back to them. Like, there's none of that. That whole thing is gone. All you can do is collect this one small area, and there's no long-term sustainability of that market to show that that's going to work past this little window we're in right now. Whereas cards, we've seen this continuous reboot system over and over. You know, 80s reboot from the 50s, now rebooting from the 90s. We've seen it twice now, and we're going to see it again if the card. And one of the reasons I collect LeBron is so that I can freaking make fun of people that collect modern players, right? It's part of the what do you want to call it? The competitive spirit of, like, the sports, the collecting, all of it. It all goes together. If people aren't collecting Trae Young and flashing it and shoving it down my throat, I'm not going to be as incentivized to want to crush them by buying some of those. You know what I'm talking about? That's part of it.
Yeah. I know. It's you need both halves of the equation.
You need a little bit of drama. You need a little bit of friction to make things more interesting. Again, same thing. I don't want this to be super smooth. I don't want to just like put in my money and make my 5% returns. If I wanted to do that, I'd put my money in the damn stock market and I wouldn't be involved in this. But this is more fun because it requires more effort. It requires more engagement. It requires more work, and I want to be involved in that. I don't want this hobby to be put this $5,000 into my damn Roth IRA and like that's boring.
No doubt. That's key. Okay, let me go through a few more. Let's see here.
I'm trying to get to a new topic, man. We're almost an hour in.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll wrap it up here. Okay. Direct to consumer and secondary market will be a huge benefit for collectors. So there's the other side of that. It's good to have vision, but a God complex is not right. And it's a God complex. I guess it's all broken. Hobby infrastructure needs to improve. Okay. So this guy agrees. Brutal grading, resale, and distribution experiences. Fanatics is going to make a lot of money. This was a good one, actually. Trying to make an efficient market out of a market whose charm is inefficiency. I thought that was well said. Okay, here's the one I wanted to end on. And this is a bit of a gloomy one to end on. Quote, Fanatics will undoubtedly soften this message in the future. We will see a completely different tone on hobby-centric shows, but we cannot fall for it. This is their truth. A complete and hostile takeover poised to cut out everyone.
That's interesting. You're right, because they were on CNBC and they thought, this is going to be viewed by boardroom people, investor types, and they're going to be excited about how well this is going to do for their investment. Once we get over to the hobby shows, we're going to change it. It's going to be more about, making things better for the community, the hobby, etc. We got to keep that little video we've already seen in the back of our minds, Chris. We're not idiots. We know that this is primarily something that is driven by money and profits. We're not stupid. These aren't people that are, longtime collectors that are super passionate and want to grow the hobby, for everyone else. They want to make money, and that's how these businesses work. And that's no secret. So we just got to keep that in the back of our mind.
Yeah.
We got to hold these fuckers accountable, Chris. They want us to pay our money for their product. Then you better make a good product. Like it's really that simple. Like I'm not going to buy it if it sucks.
Yeah. Indeed. But if there's one bright side or silver lining, it's that there are people of Gen X and millennial age group who are in extremely influential positions and who love collecting and grew up in collecting in, I suppose, two of the hobby's biggest entities, Fanatics and Collectors Universe. And so there are people who are thinking like us and who have an interest in seeing this hobby thrive above and beyond their bottom line. They want to be able to enjoy collecting as well. They don't want it to go away. So I take some comfort in that. And also, even though Fanatics definitely did, Ruben definitely did tell you point blank what their business philosophy is. And it's that there's a boatload of money that is being made at all the different levels of the supply chain, and they would like to capture all of those margins. And that is how, because we had a question come in about the valuation from Underdog Cards. Please discuss how Fanatics got a $10 billion valuation, and discuss how Fanatics becoming the top manufacturer, greater the vault. Is Fanatics going to bite off more than they can chew? So a couple things on that. Number one, we don't know how this is all going to play out, but it would be very unfortunate, not only from in Fanatics' interest, look, you don't want to convert an entrepreneurial market into a manager-based market. You don't want to do that. That's all these models and projections that are based on continued growth. You can throw them out the window if you change the key players and the incentives that have taken this industry to this point in time. But also, there should be a reverence and a respect and a real motivation to keep those key stakeholders involved and to keep them motivated and working and propping up and pushing up this industry. And there is also something to be said about loyalty. There are people who have been in this business, heels dug in for 10, 20, 30 years, their whole lives. And only over the last 2 to 3 years did they finally really see rewards for all that time and effort and energy that they put into this industry. And now all of a sudden, the big fish comes along and gobbles them up. So there really needs to be a solution that respects the history and the traditions and the people who made this what it is. I don't really know any other way to put it. I can show why that's in Fanatics' interest, to keep this entrepreneurial model going, but there's also something else bigger. Like there's a loyalty, a respect level to it that I think matters too. So for those, and some clarity at some point would be really good too. Like, should card shop owners continue to project 10, 15 years into the future? Yeah. Things like that, and I'm sure a lot of that stuff is happening behind the scenes. So, and that's good. But, Fanatics will have a chance to change it. Like right now, this is the most malleable the situation will ever be. And I can assure you, Josh and I know that people influential over there listen to this show. And I hope we gave voice to some worthwhile opinions here today. C Rhymes 23 asks, who will save creativity in cards?
Save it? Is it lost?
I think a lot of it's not just C Rhymes who's saying this. I believe Matt has openly criticized Panini. Okay, so right, for lacking some of the artistic aspects that 90s and 2000s cards had. Well,
I mean, isn't the answer Fanatics? There's no one else will be creating cards. We don't really have a choice here. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't think Panini is that. I like older stuff better, but I don't think Panini's like bad or anything. I don't think it's like horrible. I mean, the boom happened during Panini, the Panini era. They saw the most growth of any other era by far. So, it speaks for itself.
Definitely. All right. We got 4 questions on this next topic. What's up, Jeremy Lee? First one comes from Cards and Candy. He will always get the first question if there's a multitude. He says, Josh is going to PC Dame Lillard. I remember him talking about it months ago. Mahomie Cards says, who is Josh going to PC and why is it Chris Paul? Merge with Urge says, Josh is starting to PC Giannis. And KPB Card says, with Josh's impending PC decision, what process do you use when deciding who to collect?
It's really funny that more than 0 people are taking any interest in this because I brought it up one time.
You brought it up one time on the Sports Cards Culture YouTube show. So while you talk a little bit, I'm going to just give a visual aid to show people where they can find it.
I'm very, very honored people care about my next PC. Those are all great answers. People are definitely paying attention. Those are guys that I like, all of them for sure. I haven't bought a single card yet, so I'm still kind of in that lie in wait phase. So nothing's been decided yet. The process of deciding, it's usually the number one factor for me is the selection of cards of the given player I'm choosing to collect. I like a player that kind of spans across a few different eras of cards and has a good rookie season for cards. That's why I struggled with some sets. It's like I didn't like their rookie cards, and I really like to get strong rookie cards, and I like to kind of get like the key historically important rookie cards of players. So if they have ones in their rookie year that interest me, then I'm interested. That's the process for me.
Rated Rookie says, my hypothesis is Josh will reveal an amazing Trey PC.
Well, I can start with that Gold Prism PSA 10. That's a pretty solid start, would you say?
Yeah, that card is going to be a big deal. Well, but what about like players that just interest you or excite you? Did you ever just go off of that?
The player is the first thing.
Okay.
The player, the first thing is like which player, and then second is like does that player fit into my mold of like the cards that I want to buy. So I'll start with like a list of like 5 to 10 players and then whittle it down based on which cards I like best. So definitely player, obviously, like, and usually they're like a little bit older, and I'm not a big fan of like guessing at who's going to be good. I like to like have 5 to 6 to 10 to 15, 20 years of data that shows they're good. I don't know. It's just my style. Whatever, people can take from that what they want. They can do that or do their own thing. I don't, that's the way it goes.
What's the most prospecty-ish? Remember, you once had like a bunch of badass Mahomes cards, right? You had those for a little while. What's the most like prospecty-ish person you've ever collected?
I bought a couple of Brandon Ingram cards because when LeBron came to the Lakers, I was like, man, Brandon Ingram's going to be the Wade or whatever, and I'm going to really enjoy watching that. I wanted to be able to watch that and collect a young player, but that didn't work out, obviously. Mahomes for sure. I had some like Lamar Jackson stuff. It's a little bit different prospecting the quarterbacks, I feel, because there's such like the quarterbacks in the prospecting world are just they're like planets, like the whole thing revolves around them. Like they are the whole team pretty much. So like you're basically like you're prospecting on the system that they're in, the team, the division, the weapons around them, right? It's like you're not really just guessing on the player like basketball. I don't know. Maybe that's like too much thought on it, but Mahomes to me just has like this whole thing around him, this whole system going where it just seems like it's going to be sustainable for a decent amount of time.
Got it. So do you want to confirm Dame Lillard,
No.
Chris Paul,
No.
Giannis?
Nope, no way.
Why not? Why would you not confirm?
Because I haven't bought any cards yet. So yeah, I mean, haven't you ever seen a pump and dump? You got to buy a bunch of stuff first, then you pump it, then you dump it. God, you're such a noob. You'll see it in my after I make a top 5 video of like the top 5 best investments. That player I'm invested in will be in the all of the 5. It's easy.
As long as you don't sell it within 30 days, I think there's no ethical problem there. I think.
But for real though, the reason I don't say is because the stuff I usually go after is extremely rare, and it's like, it's not. If the case was like I didn't want to tell you the prospect because I could buy up his 99 RPAs that are pretty easy to get on these younger guys, and like their Prism Silver PSA10s and crap, whatever. It's a different aspect, but like I'd be after older cards that are super rare, so I wouldn't want to give that away too early. It's Miles Turner. I only collect centers. Everybody knows that.
But it's safe to say we're not going to get a prospecty basketball player.
It depends on what your definition of prospect is and how many years that spans. Is LeBron a prospect, for example?
No. There are elements of him that are a prospect, but just in the sense that he can add to his legacy. And that
I've hinted on this show several times of players I feel that would be good to prospect on for their long-term future of how people feel about them after they retire. Mm-hmm. I'll leave it at that.
Oh, that's a big hint. Okay. I've done too much. I've done too much prodding. Okay. HGA. There's been some discussion about HGA. South Park Cards writes to say HGA again is in hot water for slabbing reprints and fake autographs. Will this affect them? I'm not a huge expert. Do you know much about this either?
No.
So all I could say is this. I do believe HGA has acknowledged that there was inauthentic cards slabbed. I believe their remedy was buying the cards back at their market value. And I believe that authenticating cards is the primary cornerstone of grading cards. And I think HGA knows that, or they have learned it very quickly.
What does the A stand for in PSA?
Altered?
Weird. No, that's not right. That can't be right. Something to do with what you're talking about.
Anonymous.
Ah.
Anonymous, I think.
Professional Sports Anonymous.
Okay, so Dorman Stash writes in and says non-authentic cards and the fake manufacturing of them. So again, this is why grading companies are so important. I like HGA's solution of buying back the cards that were counterfeit that got through their slabs. I think that should always be the solution. That the grading companies should guarantee its work.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, like, if they have a little scandal going on, the important thing to note here is that all of the grading companies have hit this exact scandal because nobody's perfect and mistakes happen. It's more about how they react to it and how they handle it and take care of it and respond to it. And so if their immediate response is to buy it back and do the right thing, this is good.
Definitely. Okay.
I don't want perfection. I want people to do the right thing, and I want people to strive for perfection, right? But when the mistakes happen, how do they react?
Okay. It's good. Any grading company that's worth its salt is going to have people try to pass counterfeits through it, and they need to have elegant and well ironed out solutions for that.
I have a different question from HJ though.
Yeah, well, we got a question about this video.
Hold on. Find that sentence. Find the list.
Oh, I'll find it. Hang on.
Give me that list, sir.
Let me get this. Here it is.
Then I'll ask you my question.
Oh, you have a question. All right.
Yeah, what the fuck does morphological transformations and minimum intraclass variance image binarization mean?
I don't know. I've never seen those words put together in that order in the context of trading cards.
You've used so many words in conversation with me where I was like, don't ever say that again. That word is way too obnoxious. And you don't even know what those words mean.
I don't know what those words mean. I don't even
That lady that read the lady that read the cue cards doesn't know what those mean either.
Probably not. Christina, you've been very quiet during this show.
She knows what they mean. She's like, can't believe you idiots don't know what those words mean. Minimum variance. What is it?
Minimum intraclass variance image binarization.
Sounds awesome. I want some of that.
All right. So I think people are taking umbrage at this because the purpose of communication is the clarity of the transmission of an idea. And using words like this, technical jargon, that many people are completely unfamiliar with in the context of sports cards or in any context, is not clearly communicating a message. The purpose ostensibly here should be to simplify and to really let people, in the simplest terms possible, understand how the grading processes work at HGA, because the grading processes that they showed off looked pretty cool.
Exactly. The fucking content itself was great. I just you put a mask of confusion over it.
Like, this stuff was very interesting. The way that they were explaining how they.
Agreed.
Okay. Also, the dubstep music was eerie.
Yeah.
And the presentation just was a little violent, but what they actually, like, the techniques that they were showing for how they're imaging cards and using that technology was
cool.
Really cool.
I told you, you sent me that video and I thought you were waiting for me to be like making fun of it, but I was like, this is cool. Looks cool to me.
It was cool. So this is their software that images a card and lines up the border and then projects a centering grid.
Yep. No, look, it's cool. It is really cool. I was trying to find a flaw, because that's how I am, but I think it's cool.
Yeah. And then they also added something which, like, some people I know didn't like. They said basically at the end, like, after all this tech is done, also people took issue with calling it artificial intelligence. But basically what they're saying is after all this tech is done, a human grader still gives it a grade. And so they're like, well, okay, so what's the point of all the tech? But I kind of lean the other way. I think there always is a place for human grading. And I think people put way too much blind faith into what artificial intelligence can and can't do, especially in an arena like this where, like, it's really important to treat things on a case-by-case basis.
Yep.
And like this isn't a place where you can smooth out error. It's not the way that works. This is a very individualized service. So I thought that it's actually good that they have a human ultimately assigning a grade at the end of the day.
In the NFL replay review process, they use technology, but ultimately the human makes the decision. And you guys are okay with that?
Exactly. Okay, let me stand on a soapbox for a brief second.
Oh, geez. All right.
Here's my advice to any grading company, especially because you know that Michael Rubin has an investment stake with CSG, and that CSG has been mentioned in the Sports Collectors Daily article. It's been mentioned as part of Fanatics' total vertical integration plan, that grading is going to be a part of it. Okay, guys. So in other words, there's a company with a private valuation of $10.4 billion coming in and discussing taking over grading. So look out. There is a new big fish in this pond ready to eat all the smaller fish. Okay, so what will enable Fanatics to do that? I think one of the big mistakes in grading is these grading companies not marketing their star graders. Show us the individuals who are your senior graders. Show us their resumes. Let us get to meet them. Because guess what? Fanatics can make a grading company, or they can have CSG come in and do the grading. And if the only thing that a grading company is a label, just a brand name, they can win. Fanatics can win. But Fanatics cannot overcome a personal attachment or a personal loyalty that people would feel to a grading company that can start and that can be built by showing people who are the people who are grading the cards, what's their resumes, what's their credentials. And then when I say I want to defend PSA, I don't want to do CSG. I want to stick with PSA. You want to know why? Because Michael, whatever, is their lead grader, and he's fantastic, and so on. So that's my piece of advice to grading companies. Start marketing your graders. Start building a personal connection with this community.
Yep.
Yeah, as Carbon says, the most recognizable graders currently work for CSG. Exactly. Andy Broom and another grader who they took from Beckett. And those are the most visible graders. Just because I only know those names because CSG marketed them. And I feel more confident in CSG just because I know that there are real senior veteran hobbyist graders working there. So if I was a grading company, I would start marketing my graders.
Don't forget the registry, dude. We don't talk about the registry much on the show, but it has a humongous draw to people. Like because they've already invested so much, to your point, like they've invested their own equity of time and resources into these registries, and like collecting a certain grading company and knowing that the pop report actually has some weight behind it. So I think that is, like HGA and CSG can't just like make their pop reports bigger and make their registry bigger. That takes like a lot of effort and time, and mostly just time. So, you got to be able to stick through it in the long run as well.
Totally. Okay. Shifting gears. JGP45 says, what is one card you thought about buying but are glad that you did not buy?
Finally. First question that's like card related. Okay, say it again while I think.
What is one card? Chat, chime in as well.
Yeah.
What is one card you thought about buying but are glad that you did not?
I thought about buying an 86 Fleer Jordan for like a long time in the beginning, just trying to like find the time to do it. And also like pretty much anything vintage, to be honest with you, like not to throw shade at vintage, because this question is kind of directed at like, like buying Mitchell Trubisky. I'm glad I didn't, when I would have lost a lot of money. I'm thinking more of it in terms of like, I'm glad I didn't go down this path as something that doesn't interest me. And like, I didn't have actual genuine interest. I didn't want to get sucked into the hype of something. Vintage basketball, like I was tempted to get into it, and I'm glad I never did, because it just never quite interested me on the genuine level that that other stuff has. So that's my answer.
Good. Okay, here's my answer.
This card, the
Good
2020
answer, man.
Marvels BGS 7.5, the black 1/1 Luka. Do you remember when this showed up on eBay?
Of course, I messaged it to you.
Yeah, okay. And
then he told me that I wasn't allowed to buy it.
Yeah, well, we were.
You're fucking right.
Thank you, Josh.
So we reached. We were basically at at an impasse in the negotiation, where it was $10K for this card raw. This is the 1/1 second year. Christina and I have the first year, and it's a BGS 9.5. Okay, we have the first year. It's the second year, 10 grand. It was too high. It was too high. But we hemmed and we hawed, and we ultimately passed. And I think somebody else came in and bought it for maybe a little bit more, maybe like 10.4 or something. And then it graded a BGS 7.5. It graded BGS 7.5, and it's available now for 12 grand. I do not want it. So
that feels like a card that sits on a marketplace, just rotting for a while.
Yeah, that card is definitely rotting away on a marketplace right now.
Isn't it funny how you want the card, you kind of want it when it's like a little bit out of your reach, but once it's like very easy to get, you're like, I don't want that card anymore.
Yeah, it happens.
It's that's like a, what's that, like, when you playing hard to get kind of thing, like that's an actual strategy in cards as well. Like, you got to be a little bit coy with it. People want to go find that Instagram account that has 30 followers and buy that card from them, the rare one, and they'll pay the full. But if it's like someone's posting the same card for sale every day for 100 days in a row, it's like, no.
You don't know how accurate that is, South Park. Adam Lefko wants to know what happened to buy the card, not the grade.
Yeah, Chris, you're just all about the grade because I got a 7.5. Now you're like, boo.
Have you ever heard me say that? Have I ever come out and said buy the card, not the grade?
No, dude, I'm with you, man. I don't get that phrase at all. I would rather have the PSA 10. I'm a gem whore.
I don't go that far, but I do think that condition does matter. It matters. It matters the least on a 1/1, but knowing that card is a BGS 7.5, the condition of that card definitely impacts its value. If that card was a PSA 10 or a BGS 9.5, it would be more desirable.
I love PSA 9s. I don't know what it is about a PSA 9. It's like there's a world in which it's a 10 given certain factors, but it's cheaper. It's still mint. Like, I know it's really strong. If it were raw, I would be happy with it, and I wouldn't know the difference between 9 and 10. I love PSA 9. I love I just love that. Love PSA 9.
9s are getting a lot of love tonight. First the BGS 9, now the PSA 9.
Dude, you got me. I'm a collector tonight, my friend. I've been literally holding this card since we started the show. I've just been holding cards all day. I also love PSA 7s and 8s of older cards.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. It's like, it's got a little bit of story to it. Like, someone didn't take perfect care of it. They collected it, and it was like a rare thing that they didn't really think about it long term about how this is like an investment piece. So it somehow made its way to the future into a 7. I love that.
Yes. Also, buy the card, not the grade. By the way, badass card. I got a little distracted by the shine on that Rudy's. Buy the card, not the grade. What that phrase means is sometimes cards that are in a high grade slab are not worthy of that high grade. And sometimes cards in a lower grade slab are in better technical condition than what the grade reflects. But buy the card, not the grade does not mean start a collection of PSA 1s. Although there's nothing wrong with that. There are some pretty cool PSA 1 collections.
But it's also, it goes back to that conversation about like using the technology to inform your decision, but in the end you make the decision, the human. It's the same thing here where like I'm going to use the grade as a baseline to help me decide the condition, and then after that I'm going to look into it myself. But like if it's a PSA 9 or a BGS 9, I know confidently that it's not fucking mangled, and I also know that there's a little bit something wrong with it. Like I can start from that perspective. and then I can dig in. How's the centering on this 9 relative to other 9s? You know, how's the corners and stuff like that? Like, I can make my decision, but it's nice to have. It's really nice. And this is why grading is so damn successful, and it's why grading is the single most influential factor into the sports card boom, in my opinion, because you have something that is giving you a third-party unbiased opinion on facilitating transactions, telling you the condition of the item, giving you a trusted resource to tell you about the authentication of something. There's all these different things. It's all about trust when you're investing into a market. Trust. I need to know that this is going to be legit. I need to know that I can trust this long term. Grading companies help establish that. We need to also trust the grading companies. We can't just say blindly, like, who cares about the grade? Just look at the card. We have to do a little bit of both.
No doubt. No doubt. Good. That's a tough, that's a nuanced subject that, you know, could take up many, many more minutes of discussion.
You could go and dig and find a blowout forum thread where I, on the thread, claim anything that is not raw is ridiculous and makes no sense. You could find that. So if I run for president, go find that and use it against me, because I said that at one point. Over time, I started to appreciate and understand and learn the importance of grading. So I can still appreciate the perspective of someone that only collects raw, and I understand it because I once was at that point. But as someone who has more money invested into this hobby now, I need a little bit more trust.
Yeah. I've always been on the other side. I always thought I was captivated and intrigued by slabs. And I always thought slabs made cards look awesome. And then I developed an appreciation over a little bit of time that raw cards deserve their respect too.
There's a place for both. I have either a slabbed card or it goes in my binder where I can appreciate it in a different way. Like, if it's going to be a raw card, I want it in my binder where I can flip through and sort of relive the nostalgia of owning a binder and having sets and being able to look at cards very quickly. Or I think it's worthy of going into a slab and going into a more secure storage long term. I kind of like that either or. I don't like the in between of like top loaders and like you're not sure which should it be, you know what I mean?
Yeah, plus I've dropped a card on the floor once in a while. And when it's in the slab,
a card.
And when it's in the slab, you know, I know what its condition is. I put the slab inside of a slab guard inside of a bag. And, you know, I feel much more safe that the card's condition is being preserved. No matter what the condition is, I feel much more secure that the condition is being preserved. Plus, like, come on, can we just talk about slabs as cool for a little while? I know that's very counterculture.
They're cool.
Among like, especially collectors, but, like, can we
They're
just talk about
cool.
this? Like, look at there's a wealth of information on this slab. You get the year, the manufacturer, the name of the set or the subset or the insert set, the name of the parallel, the card's number, a subgrade breakdown, a serial number in case you want to go check it out. And the backside is sufficient, you know?
Dude, it makes it feel more prestigious, or, you know, it makes it feel like you've got something more important. Like, it's hard to explain, right? Like, it just feels more long standing. It just feels like this is something I need to own for a while.
Definitely. All right. Next question. Drake's PC. When deciding to consolidate your collection of a player that you collect,
Oh, here we go.
how do you decide which cards of that player to let go? Is it strictly how hard those cards may be to acquire again? Or what other things do you consider? Yeah.
It's usually, was this Drake?
Yes, it was.
Drake? Great guy, Drake. What's up, man? Yes, it's usually the first one. That's usually the case, especially if you're talking, it's depending on the era, but if you're talking like, you know, I'm obviously going to jump into 90s basketball as the example, but if you're talking about 90s basketball, it's usually like, am I going to get this card back again? No, okay, keep it. But if you're talking modern, you're talking a little bit different, to me, it's more of like, what's the card that I'm going to appreciate for a really long time because it has a historical significance? That's very important to me. And I keep bringing it up tonight, but I feel like it's a topic that needs to be discussed a lot, is like, is this something that's going to outlast this current FOMO phase that we're in today? Like, am I going to appreciate Kabooms 10 years from now? You have to think about that. You may think like Kaboom is everything right now. That may be stuck in your mind this very second. Is Kaboom going to be a historically significant card 10 years from now? If you think it is, great. If you're not sure and you think it's just FOMO, you may want to look towards the Prism Gold, the NTRP 899, ones that you absolutely know are going to be historically significant. Because it may be that you want to own something that is like incredibly rare and it's just for your PC. But another factor is you're going to want to know that something is going to be important to you today and also in the future. And I feel like historically significant cards always provide you that sort of comfort long term.
Yeah.
Give me a different perspective. Give me a collector's perspective.
You've also, I was waiting for you to talk about how you when you consolidate, you go from the bottom of the stack up.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead and jump into that.
Hold on. Okay, so a couple people talking about an Amex. This is a gift card, boys. And those numbers ain't doing nothing for you. So screenshot away.
Did you say Amex?
I said Amex. Okay. Anyway.
Lanier. I got him.
Bottom to the top of the stack. That's how we well, can people that no, you need to scratch. Yeah. Nope. That's a completely fake number, boys.
He's like, can't people steal my money?
Might not be posting the live. Okay.
He's like buying something frantically.
Yeah,
buy something quick.
I have these eBay gift cards sitting here, and I always forget to use them. It's first world problems.
You better buy something.
First world
Hey,
problems.
here's something that everyone's going to really laugh at and appreciate. Mom, I love you if you're watching this. When I get a $25 gift card to eBay, I'm like, oh, this is so great. And then when I get to the checkout, it's like, oh, $25 off of $6,000. Wow, thanks.
You got half of the shipping covered.
Right. Oh, yeah. And it's like, oh, there goes $25 off the tax that like is a new fee that's incurred.
What? Something was wrong with my theater screen? Was it not clean?
I saw someone send me a picture in a DM of their hand over their device, and I laughed really hard. I was like, wow, you're a crossover fan, my friend.
Wow. That's next level. So, yeah. So
talk about bottom up.
Bottom up. Your cards in the row, or if you were to stack them up by favorite to least favorite.
The column.
Column row. And the one that's at the very back of your column, or the very bottom of your column, or the very back of your row. Those are the ones that I would get rid of first. Like, for example, I'm gonna have to start consolidating some CMAX soon. I keep buying too many. The ones that are gonna go first are the ones that are at the bottom of the stack. The ones that I am least interested in looking at when I flip through it.
That last piece you just said was also a part of it. You know, that's the pure collector's, like, when I'm looking through which one am I like, yeah, I always flip through it faster. You know, you just sort of like brush past it. That's the one where like 10 years from now, when you haven't looked at your PC in a year for whatever reason because life got in the way, which is the one at that point where you're like, I'm not even going to care then.
Yes. Okay. I was thinking about this a little bit earlier today too. So much of card collecting from my experience has been very much feel based. It's always been about what cards am I attracted to? What cards give me excitement when I know they're in the mail? What cards, am I going to hold in my hand while I'm talking to somebody on a live stream on a Friday night? That's always been my compass and my only compass. That's it. And when I've been picking players to collect, it's always been strictly like, which players just do I love rooting for? Or could I really see myself rooting for? That's always been the driver. I've never tried to rationally determine the prospects of this guy are actually, all that happens after the fact. Then I do all this after the fact rationalizing. Well, I really like this player because, you know, look at this stat and look at this stat, or they're blah, 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 blah. But it's never that's after the fact rationalizing. And I'm honest enough with myself that I can see that that's how the world works as well. Like when people are debating opinions or taking different positions on a topic, people often have an initial bias, and then they line up a bunch of different facts in favor of defending it. And in the marketplace of ideas, that's really not what you should do. Okay, you should look at all the evidence and try to make an objective, unbiased opinion. But in collecting, you actually get to do that. You actually get to be emotionally fueled and rely on instinct and rely on fun and defending your fun. That you that's what you get to do in collecting. That's always guided me from the very first Jordan insert up until the last card that I added to my collection. That's always guided me. And you know what? It's worked out pretty well.
Man, I'm really good at picking friends. I bet Christina is just like, man, that dude is just the best right now.
I think she thinks that all the time. Don't you, Christina?
She's like, dang, I'm attracted to that dude right now. She's like, wait, were you guys talking? Just went on this like great rant about why we collect. That was amazing.
Good. Okay, next question.
Good. Good.
Cards and Candy 911.
Yes. Save us.
He says, I just sold a personal collection item that I did not want to do. But
no.
I know. But I needed the money for something else. What is your best advice to help cope with what I feel was a mistake? And that kind of took a turn at the end there, didn't
it? Buy more cards.
yeah, right. Okay.
Drown your sorrows in different, better cards.
Here's another piece of philosophy. Once it's not yours anymore, hate it. Despise it.
That's a good one, Chris, because I sold a card recently that I'm going to probably cry about in the future, but I'm like, yeah, I mean, the grades sucked and, you know, whatever.
Once it's gone, hate it.
That's a good one. I like that.
Well, that doesn't apply to only cards, but it definitely applies to cards. Despise what you cannot have.
Just make stuff up. Just like, you know, in the case of Trae Young, I'm just making stuff. He's crushing New York. He's like making me look like an idiot. I'm just making stuff up, you know, like, yeah, whatever. I'm going down with the ship. He's dumb. His hair is bad. I don't like him. It's getting petty.
Dude, you talked about this like way earlier in the episode. You were like, actually, like having people and athletes that we don't like that are our foils is an important part of this whole fun hobby experience.
Totally, it is.
Yes.
You need to have this is why people watch the news and why people care about politics, because there's something to like hate and root against, right? Like there's this like desire in humans to want to go against something.
Never underestimate the pleasure that's derived from hating things.
Just ask Fox News business model.
All right. So Adam Lefko would like to know.
Oh yes, I saw it.
If you were selling a card and you were offered a non-fungible token that was worth twice the current market value of the card, would you do the deal?
You're gonna like this answer. You really are. I would do the deal. I would immediately sell the thing, and I would buy double the cards. I would just go buy more cards with it.
Seems pretty easy, right? Like,
mm-hmm.
You know, you have to.
If you're gonna give me free money, I'm gonna buy more cards.
Yeah, right. That seems pretty straight.
So then his reaction is like, then why didn't you get into NFTs if it's free money, Chris? Didn't you know that all you have to do is buy NFTs and you just double your money?
Because who knows that? Nobody knows that.
Well, yeah, I'm being facetious.
Yeah. No, I mean, NFTs. Yeah, sorry, you had to pay the gas fees and now you're broke.
Gotcha. He's like, got him.
Trick. Plot twist. Do we want to say anything about NFTs right now?
Oh, yeah. I want to talk about the doodles.
All right, hang on. Let me see if I can pull up a news story.
There's Max. Max all of a sudden comes out of nowhere. Did you guys say NFT? He has like an alert on his phone.
I saw Max on here earlier. All right.
Yeah, but he's been like dormant waiting. He has like an alert when we say NFT. He popped up and...
David is about to pop up next. Okay. Actually, I've seen David in here already. All right. Doodles used to create fucking doodles used to create Gary Vaynerchuk's NFT collection sell for $1.2 million. By the way, all love and respect to Gary V. Let's just say that up front. Christie's on Friday auctioned five artworks that were created by Gary V. The sale is part of Christie's post-war to present. Okay, there's Gary with the Passion Parrot. Let's see if we can find a picture. So $1.2 million for these. How many did they say there was?
There's like
5.
4 or 5.
5,
yeah.
Okay. 5. There's Gary with a nice graph next to him. Damn, I wanted to find some pictures of these. I know I put them on my story.
There's like an elephant, a gorilla, and a, you know.
Ah, damn, I just entered the Matrix.
That was like an infinite mirror. That was like infinite mirror shit right there, wasn't it?
That just got way too scary.
Have you've done that, right? Where you look at 2 mirrors across from each other and you're like, whoa.
I ran away very quickly.
For anyone listening to the podcast, Chris is on his computer and he clicked on the live of this live and it was like, whoa.
I was hoping it might let me see my story. Okay.
No, it's like a gorilla, an elephant, and whatever.
I'd really like to find pictures of these because you need to see
how ridiculous they are.
The picture.
Well, what I was gonna say is like the more obvious, and we remember that article that Justin sent us that we talked about. The more like ridiculously, ironically stupid it is, the more people want it.
Ah, yes.
And it's like the ultimate flex is like how simplistic and ridiculous it is. That's the flex.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have anything else to say. I don't want to shit on it too much because I just I don't understand it. But like it just seems silly to me.
All right, this will have to do. This is the elephant, which hammered for 330.
What is PSA doing? What do they get out of this?
I think they just slabbed them authentic. Okay, this is gratitude.
But shouldn't they be, Chris? PSA offers a different service where they're like blue labels, and that's like it's basically like it's like a picture of you and like your kid's baseball team, isn't it? How is this an actual like slab? I don't understand that.
I don't know. It's a fair question. Okay, this is the gratitude gorilla, 200,000. This is the hen ejecting a diamond.
That's the undervalued one.
This is what I've been told was undervalued. Diamond Hands Hen. Hammer price, 130,000. That went for a steal. This is a piece of paper that says you're gonna fly. No, I'm sorry. It says you're gonna die, fly, and then that must be a small fly. $160,000.
It's literally a dot. Yeah, okay.
Tremendous Tiger. I like how they're all like titled as well, so you don't get confused about what you're looking at. That hammered for 190, and then that's an Andy Warhol dollar sign.
So like the people were joking that or not joking, but the point of this was like, how is he outselling these like actually famous artists who also have profited off of the sort of ridiculousness of this industry of like, all I got to do is put my name on it and splash some paint on a white canvas and all of a sudden I can sell it for $1 million. And so he's sort of just playing into he's just playing into that world of like, if I create literally anything, people will buy it, and as long as it's on the Christie's auction board, people will buy it. Who cares what it is? But I don't get how PSA slabbed that. Like, honestly, it doesn't have to be a part of like an official set and like in the registry in order for them to slab it with that red label. Because I know they have the blue label, and literally on their website, the example they use is like, your kid's baseball card that he gets, and you want to like slab it, make it a little more special with the blue label, and it's like a custom thing. How is it not that they did the blue? It's a fucking drawing.
I'm going to the PSA Pop Report right now, and I'm seeing if I can find this.
Yeah. Someone in the chat, please explain to me how PSA is able to slab that as an authentic like red label thing.
VeeFriends, maybe? No results for VeeFriends.
Here's the thing about NFTs, Chris. They're all one of one, so the pop is one.
Max actually points out that these are not NFTs. These are the arts that the NFTs were based on.
Whatever. Okay.
But the reasoning is that...
it's not a one of one anymore. It's a one of two. There's the NFT version of it and the physical version of it. Just go to the next question before I get in trouble for shitting on it too much.
Okay.
They fucking suck. I'll say.
What, like as drawings?
As drawings. Someone paid $160,000 to get a death threat from Gary Vee.
What the?
You're gonna die.
Fly.
They said you're gonna die.
Fly.
I'm sure that like
the title of that thing is "You're Gonna Die."
Fly. You're gonna die. Fly.
it still says you're gonna die on like its own line.
Still is written out. You're gonna die.
Okay.
I'm sure this is like the most obvious joke of all time, but like my son could draw those.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, please go to the next question. We're dropping people. Nobody cares.
we are dropping people. We're dropping people like when SCI went on Ken's stream. Okay. I know he saw those numbers too. Okay, up next.
What was his favorite app though? I
forget.
There you go. I forget. Yeah, there you
go. Yeah.
Good.
Oh no.
I just pulled a Chris. Good.
Very good.
Good.
It was written.
Good.
Oh, here's some
That's
art.
good. Oh, you should sell that on the Christie's blockchain.
Check out that art. Christina made that when we were living in LA and she went to an art class.
No, it was a art night. It wasn't a class.
This is called
Cat in Paris.
Cat Calls in Paris.
You got to give it it's got to be like, curious cat or like, some fancy word, some lawyer word, then cat.
This is called Cat-O-Lantern.
There you go. 600K. Let's just put random prices on it. Everyone, what do you think that's worth? All right, please go to the next question. I'm begging you.
All right, next question. Dallas.
Hardly candy. Oh, okay.
Dallas 88228. What is the etiquette when you buy cards from someone on Instagram and you want to resell the cards without burning the bridge?
Having some guilt issues there, Dallas? That's a good question, actually. It's a really good question because I'm sure we've all had this happen to us at some point. Maybe not you, Chris, because you're just like Mother Teresa or some shit.
Thank you.
Yep. I don't know. I think it's just like that you wait a little bit, right? Like just wait a little bit, maybe like a month. What's the cutoff on time? Help me here. Like a month?
I need to know a few more details. By the way, the chat finally found their meme of the night, naming this picture. Go ahead, guys, name away. All right.
If I buy a card from somebody on Instagram with the 100% intention that either A, I think they underpriced it and I want to flip it, or I just like I have no interest in the card and I just want to like immediately put it up for sale because I in the future want to sell it. What's the etiquette on like doing that?
Someone says hide your story from them.
Jesus Christ, man. I don't know about that. I think it's a month.
A month.
Dodgers 200810 says a week. I think it's a month. What do you? Just give me a guess. I know you don't know anything about this world, so just guess.
It depends.
Dude, we were struggling to like remember the last time you sold a card last night.
I know. It does not happen.
You're like, sell a card on Instagram. How do you even do that?
How does that work?
You're like, I have to give them my bank
Right.
address for them to pay me? Wait, can they pay my credit card bill? I don't understand. Can they pay my mortgage? How do I sell?
Yeah. Shoot. All right, I'm going to take a different tack on this. If you sell a card, the card is gone. And you sold it at a price that induced you to move it. Yeah, I agree with Corey. You own it, do whatever you want.
Right.
I think that is the right answer here. I think it is. I don't think the burden should be put on the reseller. I think the burden here falls solely on the seller.
Just own it.
Just own it. It was a voluntary choice. And you know what? And enjoy your misery. Okay. One of the themes of tonight has been enjoy hating things. Enjoy your misery. Enjoy your misery of getting screwed because you sold a card for too cheap and somebody else was able to flip it. Just whine about it. Go to your group chats. Go to your friends. Say, can you believe this guy? What a douchebag. Enjoy it.
Dude, I love shitting on things. It's like one of my favorite things ever. Can we talk about that as a topic?
Yes. Yes.
Because
shitting on things.
everyone,
topic.
I was going to say this earlier on the show, but everyone, all the content I watch, all the lives that I watch are just people just fucking flowers and sunshine all the time. Cards are going up forever, second inning shit. I don't know. I feel like people watch this show because they want to listen to someone who's going to shit on something just a little bit to feel like I'm not the only one who hates stuff. Can I just hate something?
Yes. And yes. Lean in to your pain. Lean into your pain. As the seller, if you're going to not sell something to somebody because they got a good deal off of you, live and learn, live and grow. Because like Long Island Sports Cards points out, the problem here is that not wanting to burn a bridge so you can ostensibly so you can get more deals. so you don't cut off the gravy tree.
Keep the gravy. Yeah, there you go.
And I don't know what to tell you.
What makes a really good comedian? Do you know what the simplest thing that makes a good comedian is?
No.
It's like someone that can like easily self-deprecate. This is why Chris Farley was part of why Chris Farley was so successful, because it's like, man, look at this guy. He can easily make fun of himself and just like lean into his own misery or whatever. So like take that in cards as well. Have some fun with like your own pain and lean into it. Not everything needs to be perfect. Nothing that's perfect is enjoyable or funny or fun. It has to be a little bit miserable. Comedy is usually like, that's why reality TV is so successful, because they're all freaking miserable, crazy people. That's why we want to watch it.
I hope this isn't interpreted as some sort of really roundabout, tricky, indirect endorsements of NFT content on sports card feeds. That's my
Someone's going to make a clip that's like, Chris and Josh told me to get into NFTs. Or they're like, yeah, they told me I should start collecting black snakeskin tiger print cards. Because they said it's funnier to be stupid.
Yeah. I think we've broken a lot of ground on this episode. This has been a groundbreaking one.
This is what makes the crossover, Chris. This little conversation we got going on is like people that, speak truthfully, the common man, we're all feeling these feelings of hate. Let's just get them out.
Let's just get them out. Get them off. Okay.
It's brutal, man. We're just brutal humans, right? We're brutal.
Just enjoying this brutal hobby.
We suck, like who cares?
Sports fandom as well is another place where you really lean in to the
Dude, you know how much amazing content Cubs fans lost in the last 5 years? They have nothing else to talk about because they won the championship. Now it's like, what are we going to bitch about? Well, there's nothing to talk about. We lost it. We lost all of the funny part. We lost the lovable Cubs thing because nobody talks about the Cubs anymore. Have you noticed that?
No, they don't. The lovable losers aren't losing anymore.
They won one champ. It's over. All their content, all their marketing is gone. Nobody cares. They won. It's over. They won the championship.
The worst thing to ever happen to the franchise.
It's like the Trae Young effect. The guy plays and nobody. There's nothing else to talk about. He's playing.
There you go. Carvin says, Josh, you should come on Clubhouse because for NFT talk, you missed the Chris Hoge meltdown.
Tell me.
I went off on
I'm
it. I went off.
Go.
For me, like, it was going off by my standards.
Well, I like when you go off. That's fun.
This guy who's come into the rooms many a time to pitch NFTs, and I'm just like,
did you ask him how old he was?
Yeah, he's 36.
I
Stop talking. I get that reference.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Go ahead. So he starts going on his pitch, and it's fine. But then he says, here's some of the reasons why NFTs are better than cards. And I just unmuted, and I was like, dude, I said his name. I said, shut the fuck up, man. We are not here to listen to this people shitting on cards to pump their NFTs. That was basically what I said. Like, just stop. This is so stupid. Like, go to your own room. Leave. Just leave this shit. I don't know. Maybe somebody else who witnessed it has a better recollection of it. But I just, I interrupted the guy, and I was like, dude, this is so stupid. You came in here to shit on cards? And I turned it on him, and I said, why don't you buy some fucking cards, bud? You're coming in here preaching NFTs. Fuck your stupid NFTs. Buy some cards. How about that?
I'll just say to everyone listening, we got 105 still. That's pretty good. All 105 of you. You already know where I'm going with this. So you have to be quiet. You have to just let me just say this thing. Chris is like this super smart, super humble, pure guy. But I swear, if you cross him, he's got these little things that if you cross him, he will fuck you up. And you better be careful. And this guy, whatever he said on this Clubhouse, crossed the line and boom.
Yes. That's the one thing. Do not. This is what pissed me off about NFTs months ago as well, and Top Shot. They were marketing Top Shot as like, oh, we're sports cards, but better. That was so offensive to me. That crosses the line to me. You're insulting our industry, our tradition, our hobby. I have no time for you. And as soon as he stepped into that, I was done with that guy.
You Italian?
No.
You seem to have some sort of like mafia Italian background where it's like very calm and like
I have a
very calm and inviting, but it's like, you fuck with the family? You know what? You fuck with me.
That's a much better mobster than I could. Carmen said it's one of the most classic moments in Clubhouse. Loved it.
That sounds amazing. I'm so sad that I missed it.
Nobody
I also
ever
am
brought it up to me. That's how you know it was very awkward. Nobody brought it up. I'm glad Carmen mentioned it.
Because people are like a little bit scared of you because you got that little bit of mobster in you where it's like, fuck with me? You fucking with cards? You talking shit?
Oh boy, we got a new meme.
There's gonna be a horse's head in that dude's bed.
Chris doesn't understand that reference. He's never watched The Godfather.
That's right.
There's gonna be a horse's head. What's it? Do we know who this guy is? This guy's got a horse's head in his bed in his immediate future.
Yeah. Oh, Jordan, you missed this too. There was a lot of people in the room. I know that.
How many people?
30, probably 30 to 40.
So it was just Carvin is the only one that we can immediately.
Yeah, Carvin was there. Christina was there. Well, were you there? Mm-hmm. Okay. Because I'd been going off on this guy for like it was building up. It was building up.
Chili Corleone. There we go. Fuck with me.
The shill joke's been going for like 2 weeks now.
You fuck with me, you get fucked.
Okay.
Dude, I want to go watch Casino, fucking Godfather, freaking Goodfellas. I'm going to watch all those right now.
Ooh. Favorite gangster movie?
Oh, good question. Have you seen the new Netflix one with all those guys, the Scorsese one? Gosh,
The Irish.
Irishman.
Yeah, I've
It's
seen
so
it.
good. It's
Yeah,
like 4 hours, but it's
it's
good.
very long. It's very long.
Probably Goodfellas.
Yeah, I try to keep out of the NFT discussions, but they keep dragging me back in. Very good, Opflix.
Goodfellas. What's your favorite?
The Departed.
No. That's
That's Irish, not Italian.
that's
Yeah,
like
sorry,
not
Boston
quite
Irish.
what I was looking for.
Oh, I'm sorry. I probably watched that movie 200 times.
I love Departed, but it's not in the category I'm looking for. Try again.
Well, why? What's the category?
I don't know. It either has to have Robert De Niro or Joe Pesci.
Okay. All right. Yeah, no, I get it.
Or
I get that.
or God, what's the guy in Godfather? I'm totally blanking on his name. All three of them were in Irishman.
Mhm.
Who's the third?
You know.
Mhm.
Al Pacino. It has to have Al Pacino, Joe Pesci, or Robert De Niro, which is like cop out, but
I like Casino.
I love Casino.
Casino's good. Let me just see
It's
if I can
where
get
he's
the
just
list
like
here.
Scarface. That's a good one. Departed is like that's in my top 10 movies of all time. Where I just like if it's on, I'll watch that shit.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so you
It's
got
so good.
a Bronx Tale, The Irishman, Casino, Analyze This, Mean Streets, The Godfather.
Mean Streets is a good one.
Ooh, Menace to Society. That's like a different type of genre, but man, I love Menace to Society.
Yeah. American Hustle.
Ooh, I like that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I
Oh,
love this thing.
Jackie Brown. If I'm not mistaken, that's an early Tarantino movie, right? Or was Tarantino involved in that?
I've never heard of that.
You've never?
Yeah.
Oh, Jackie Brown.
Tarantino.
Oh, Jackie Brown is good. That's like late
Never-
90s gangster movie.
I've never seen Sopranos. I've heard that like people tell me to start that show, but I haven't watched Sopranos. That's
Okay,
good, right?
I've watched Sopranos 3 or 4 times, and the last watch was the worst. So that's why I'm like hesitating a little bit.
Is it good?
Oh, I love Sopranos. Sopranos has a lot going for it. It's a very
You know what
heady show as well.
You know what I'm looking for in these shows? Like, I want something so insanely mobster that, like, I would never be involved in it. I want it so ridiculous that dudes are just offing each other left and right. Is it that?
It gets to that level at some points.
Yes.
The full stereotype.
Yes, I want the full blown like, hey Frankie, like I just want all that.
You'll get your dose of that.
Got me 2 fingers and all that shit. Whatever.
I am quite surprised you haven't watched Sopranos.
I'm quite
It's just,
surprised
you know,
you
it's
haven't watched The Godfather.
Did you watch Silicon Valley yet, sir?
No, but we haven't started a new show. That's our next show. We went to
You've
Vegas
done-
and then we just lost our groove of our show watching. But we'll get
Because you finished Parks and Rec?
Yeah. Yep.
What did you think of the ending?
Remind me of what happens.
They just like go into the future and show their futures.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. There's a very happy ending.
It's good. They wrap. That's a great show, man. It's a fantastic show.
Oh, yeah. And, Christina and me to a lesser extent were not high on it after the first season. Like, Christina was ready to quit it. And I was
That's what everyone says.
But, does it ramp up?
Because you start to get really invested in the characters and you're just like, you can't get away from Ron and you just get obsessed with all the
You can't
characters.
get away from Ron.
When he throws the computer into the trash.
Because Google has a picture of his house.
Yeah. Oh my God. There's so many, man. Okay, Silicon Valley's next. You guys are gonna like blow through that one.
Yeah, probably.
It's not that hard to get through.
No. Silicon Valley looks like it's going to be awesome.
You guys are gonna like it because of Card Ladder, because it has like a lot of entrepreneurial startup things where you're just like, yeah, we went through that. That's hilarious.
Okay, good. Have you seen Boardwalk Empire?
Nope.
Have you seen The Wire?
So David tells me to watch Boardwalk Empire.
Yeah,
I've seen.
I think Sopranos should come before Boardwalk Empire.
I just feel like those two shows require just like a lot of investment. Like I can't just like put them on in the background. I have to like sit and you know what I mean?
Correct.
Is that's selfish of me, but
No, that's totally fair, dude. I watched those multiple times, both of them, when I was in college. So that was a great time because then I would just take like a whole Saturday and just watch a season. You know, just taking my mind off of school.
I know that Wire is good. I was really into True Detective. Have you seen those?
Yeah, I watched the first season. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, we
because that
did.
season.
No, we didn't.
Yes, we did with
No, we
Matthew
did not.
McConaughey.
No, we did not.
Yeah, we did.
You must have watched it
Yeah.
by yourself. I've never seen it.
Season 1 of True Detective is amazing.
Yeah, season 2 I remember was weird, and I didn't make it past the first episode.
I didn't either. And then season 3 was okay. Because Matthew McConaughey and what's his name? White Man Can't Jump. This is bad.
Oh yeah,
What's his name?
Woody Harrelson.
Those guys are fucking amazing. All right, do you have any more questions, dude? I feel like we have a billion questions. Let's keep going.
Yeah, we had more questions. Cards and Candy has more of a statement than a question.
Okay.
When purchasing on eBay, people should look to see if that seller is on Instagram. I did that this week and completed 5 deals off eBay and saved on taxes and got a better deal as well.
I'm just making like the for the
just,
podcasters. I'm making like the 2-finger guns shoot. That's right.
just for the record, you should not be circumventing tax obligations, and you should not be bypassing eBay as a marketplace because that's against their terms and conditions. Thank you we appreciate all comments and we give voice to them.
I mean, if
The
you're
Democratic
a
show.
buyer and you're just looking on eBay without logging in, though, and you're just searching the person, technically you're not violating the terms and conditions because you're not a member of eBay.
When Christina starts talking like this, she's like looking up in the sky and just rattling off something.
The other day,
don't
my wife asked me a question, and I was like completely ready to just completely lie to her, and I did. And she was like, "Oh my God, you looked up when you did that. You just fucking lied to me." And I was like, "You're right, I did." It was amazing. She's like, "You just lied." I'm like, "Yeah, fuck."
Wow. You didn't even defend the lie even for 1 second.
No, because I was like, "Yeah, you're smarter than me." So fuck me.
Yeah. Christina will keep a lie going for a few paragraphs.
Really? Like out of pride?
Out of pride, definitely out of pride.
I can see that.
Yep.
I can see that.
Is that true?
She's
or
like,
false?
no.
Yeah, she knows it's true.
I feel like if you don't try to lie to your spouse, significant other, you're just not doing it right.
Chris will continue a lie for years.
I'll continue a lie for so long it becomes true.
Eventually, I start laughing, and I'm like, "Yeah, I was just full of shit for the last 5 minutes." But he'll continue
What have I
to
lied
lie
about? What have I
for
lied about?
years.
I don't have any lies.
You're living a lie, Chris. You love NFT.
Oh, somebody wants to know what this action figure is in the background.
Oh,
Christian McCaffrey.
that gave me that. It's Luca bobblehead.
A Luca bobblehead.
Ooh.
It does not really look like Luca.
All right, next question.
Next question. By the way, the guys on Clubhouse have bets going on the over-under of this episode, the link.
Oh, I like that.
They bet on everything.
Don't tell me what it is. I want to organically. I'm the one that usually that stops this show because
Right. You're so ready to be done.
No, I'm never, dude. If it was up to me, it would be. I know that you're the one that I'm guilted into stopping the show, but I would go for fucking forever.
We once upon a time we were getting into 3.5 hour episode territory.
Dude, you know what I want to get to? The day we should just do this one time when we get down to one person and just who's the last. It's just like.
What if we never got
like,
to that though?
It's just like us and. Okay, there's a question. Who would be the last person?
Who would be the last straggler?
Someone start raising your hand. Like, do your little emoji of a raise their hand. Because who would be the last person that's the crazy person? It's like 4 a.m. and it's like, what are you doing here, man? We're not even talking anymore. I'm sleeping.
Look at this guy trying to bait us. KPB Cards wants to know if there's any new filters. No. I don't want to embarrass anybody. I'm not going to do that. Go to the next question. All right, let's go to the next question here. Riley, because he has to write an article about
That's pretty good. That's good, man. That's funny. You win that one.
All right.
He's like sitting there taking notes, like, fuck, they're still going.
Schmo50 has written in with this question several times. And I'm sorry that we put it at the very, very end.
Give it to him.
What are some of the cool insert sets from the 90s and early 2000s that do not have Michael Jordan in the checklist and that might not get talked about? Could these be a sneaky play from an investment standpoint, or does it take Michael Jordan to lift all ships?
It definitely doesn't require Michael Jordan. 24 karat gold.
That's a good one.
What's the, gosh.
Prime Twine, Millennium Men,
yeah.
Slam Funk.
There's one I'm thinking of with like the sky in the background. It's like the whole front is super glossy and there's like a sky in the back.
That's Jam, also.
Air Up There or something. What is that one?
Oh, Air Apparent or something, or Air to
no. Air to the Throat. No, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. No, there's a Kobe that everybody loves. And
there's a Penny too.
And a Penny. Come on, chat.
Help us. We're fucking tired. Help us out.
There's 90
What's that?
out there. We've been entertaining you all night.
You know what I'm talking about, man?
Yes.
Air or something. It's like clouds in the background, and the whole front is completely glossy and shiny.
Super shiny. I saw one, and there's a retro version of it too.
Yes. And Penny's in a Suns jersey.
I've seen the Kobe before because all the Jordans 23 once bought the Kobe and he had it in person.
The 90 fine. 90 fine.
That's good. That's a good
Airs to the Air. I'm not gonna. Go just Google that. What is that card?
Yeah,
it's not
I'm
Airs.
trying to know. I'm trying to go to a page of a guy who I know would have it.
Air Bud, get the fuck out of here.
Oh,
raise the roof.
Raise the roof. God damn
it, dude. Rodman wins. That one right there is the one that I thought of first.
Thank you, Rodman. 1999 Fleer Mystique, Raise the Roof, and that coveted BGS 9.
Fleer Mystique, man. This is so shiny.
Dude, these are very, very cool in person.
What's the best 90s insert / parallel without Michael Jordan?
Serial number on the front too, which I like.
Those cards are badass.
Yeah.
That card is fucking sick. Kobe's Kobe's the best in the set, obviously.
Yeah. Now he took a hell of a picture of that card too.
That is like 90s to the max.
Yeah.
There's the roof.
Awesome card.
Frank says there's a golden PSA 7 ending.
Oh, Golden has one of these ending. There you go, Ken.
There's a lot. Like 1999 has a lot. Where Jordan retired, and there's a lot of cool sets for sure.
Yeah, actually, until just now, I didn't even know that there was such thing as insert sets without Michael Jordan.
Fuck you.
I'm always glad to learn new things on this show.
Stupid.
What's the name of that card again?
Raise the Roof. Maybe we should add those to the ladder.
Raise the Roof.
There it is.
Go.
Current
That's a cool card.
$9,500. 2 days left.
Would you rather have a PSA 7 or a BGS 8?
Ooh, when was the PSA 7 graded?
I'm not answering that.
If it was graded recently, I think PSA 7's got a pretty good pedigree because their grading has been tougher.
If it's old, it's like an old slab.
I'll take the higher grade, the higher technical grade.
Wrong. I mean, you already know my answer.
How dare you? No.
I crossed a BGS 6 to a PSA 4, and I was thrilled.
But these are more recent slabs.
But what's the next question?
Rodman, once upon a time, Rodman PC was a BGS guy.
Now he is a PSA whore.
He
Club
had
Vertical, that's a good one.
He had a wall of Michael Jordan inserts, all in BGS 9.5.
He used to be a wall guy?
Oh, he was a big wall guy.
That's hilarious.
He was a big wall guy. I once had walls.
I haven't seen a good wall in a while.
If I can access my archive, I can show you.
Make the wall. What's that stupid? Make the wall great again or whatever? Can we bring that back?
Make the wall great.
I'm now fully understanding that is way too close to the actuality of it. Because he wanted to build a wall.
Right. Okay. Damn, I don't think I can look at my archived posts from my computer. I used to have a wall. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Have you seen Zoolander?
Yeah.
Where he's just like hitting the computer and he's like, hoo, hoo, ha, ha. That's you trying to find your wall pictures.
You're going to die, Wall.
I want Mexico. Did you see that? I want Mexico to buy me a card wall. The files are in the. He's like, they're like, the files are in the computer. He's like, they're in the computer.
Oh, there you go. Yep. A couple of guys quoted that one. I did not teach you about the wall. You taught me the wall.
I said, then he taught me to destroy it. Oh, I love this show.
Rodman did have some regrets about consolidating, though, and he went back and he landed like PSA 8s and stuff of all of his favorite inserts.
What is this? A town made for ants? It's a classic film.
I need to rewatch it.
Dude, Ben Stiller is so funny. Cards and Candy asks.
We have one more. This is a random thought from Cards and Candy in the shower.
He specified that?
He specified that. Okay, we're gonna end on this. All right.
What is this guy's name? We need to get his.
Dude, when he made a comment today, I thought about asking for the first time because he was talking about he had to sell a card.
Is he in the chat? Can we get him on the live?
I'll send him an invite.
Dude, do it. That'd be so fucking amazing. I gotta see this guy's face. Or girl. He's the only Hall of Famer we have. He's gotta get in here.
I sent a request.
Again, he
There you go.
he opens with a tight t-shirt and says hello really long, and that's who it is.
Okay, why would you even say that?
Why would you ruin that for me?
I sent him an invitation. He was in the chat earlier, but
Dude, I feel like the chat would just blow up with excitement. Like, you and I would be fanboying over this guy.
Yep.
Tell me, I'd be like, well, okay, what's his last question? The shower question.
Well, Christina's getting some laughs on that one for sure. He could be in the shower right now. Then in that case, we don't want him to join. Oh, by the way, somebody gave us advice. George from Clubhouse said we should start having guests on towards the end of the show. Like, for anybody who watches the whole show, we should bring on one or two people from the audience towards the end of the show.
Do it.
So we're trying right now. Okay, so the question was, it's not a question, it's just a statement, just a random thought that Cards and Candy had in the shower. The gamblers getting into the space aren't afraid to lose money on prospects. I feel like they get that same rush as with betting on games by prospecting, and at least with cards, they don't lose that money forever. They can always sell at a 30% loss, if anything. And to a gambler, a 30% loss is nothing. Just a random thought I had in the shower.
I remember that was like back when people were talking about second inning stuff. That was one of the pitches on why you should get into cards. Remember that?
Yeah, because
that was like one of the
right. Yep.
Right. That was one of the like bullet point marketing pitches from people when they were trying to convince people to get into cards, was that whole thing of like, yeah, if you buy cards, you're gambling, but also you can't lose all your money. I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah. No doubt. It's gambling with less downside.
It's like, yeah, like how Top Shot is cards but better. It's like cards are gambling, but like you lose less.
Yeah. Well, with gambling, you can take any odds that you want, and you can 5x bet in one.
Did you do any NFL FanDuel type stuff yet?
Yeah, I've been placing some bets. I've been on the I'm not going to say which sportsbook I'm using. If any sportsbook would like to sponsor us,
unless you're Drew Brees or Peyton Manning, or like, I've seen so many of those guys that are like, if you want to bet with the best, you got to bet.
Yeah, if you want to bet with some miserable SOBs, hate a lot of things. Here we are. And so anyway, I bet the Bengals money line, which was minus 350. So I got about $21 per 100 bet. But the Bengals won on a field goal, so that was cool.
What was the line?
The odds on the money line were minus 350. The spread was 7.5. The Bengals were 7.5 point favorites. So I didn't want to take that. I didn't want to take that.
Oh.
That's why I just bet the money line. I just bet that the Bengals would win.
7.5. Wow, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
Fucking lot. That's a lot.
And then they got down 0-14. And
that's over. Right.
Nick bet on them when they were down 0-14, and he got great odds.
Ooh.
He bet the Bengals to win.
I feel like I was really into it week one because it was like they were literally giving me free money to bet, and I'm like, man, I read the fine print and I'm getting free money. I'm doing this, and I've since quit because I don't like gambling, but it's pretty fun.
It is fun. You just have to do it very modest. Like on the Bengals game, I bet $25 and I won 7.
Right. Right. I think I bet like my one big bet was, I was like, this is so ridiculous. This is like free money. I have to bet on this. It was like, it's ridiculous, but I'm like a fantasy guy, so I know this kind of stuff. But it was like Antonio Gibson, over 12.5 carries. And I was like, it was week one. I'm like, dude, they're going to fucking give that guy like 30 carries today. I got to bet on this. This is the stupidest line. So I bet like $100 of my own money on it. And it was like, he had like 17 carries. And then that's the trap, is like, man, it's so easy. All you got to do is bet on the stuff you know is going to work. But then I thought the same of like, it was like Austin Eckler receiving yards, like 28. And I was like, he's going to 29. He's going to have like 50 easily. And he had no catches. So I'm like, I hate this.
Yeah. Yep.
And then like every week after, he has like 80 receiving yards. I'm like, why didn't you do that in week one?
Football is a really tough sport to bet on, in my opinion.
Because it's very like, also there's so many games where you'll bet on a guy and he'll, be injured in quarter two, and it's like, well, there goes that.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Like Christian McCaffrey, which is literally exactly what happened to him.
Someone, all those questions were like the process for me to pick a player. Why did you pick Christian McCaffrey to collect?
I like everything about that guy. He's so humble. He's already proven, super proven player. He was always going to fly under the radar. So like, I would never be competing with like a mainstream love fest or anything. Like, he's on the Carolina Panthers. And I think the best comp, and one reason why I like him a lot, Peter Schrager said this on a Bill Simmons podcast. He says Christian McCaffrey puts up amazing stats and it doesn't translate to wins. And he said, so he's like the Mike Trout of football. And that, I was like, yeah, I like that.
Like the stat stuffers.
I do nowadays. Because you want to know why? Because stats, I can defend points of view with stats. So, for example,
Russell Westbrook.
Okay, so for example, Christian McCaffrey had the most total yards from scrimmage in the first 2 weeks in the NFL. So if anybody wants to come at me and say C-Mac sucks, I'll be like, what do you mean, bro? He had the most total yards from scrimmage in the first 2 weeks. Christian McCaffrey gives me all these stats that I love. So I like that. I do like having stats in the backpack.
Russell Westbrook.
Nobody's
Is he the Russell Westbrook of football?
Yes, he is the Russell Westbrook of football.
I'm telling you, man. I haven't bought a Russell Westbrook card yet. I'm not proclaiming he's the one I've chosen. And you know that I haven't proclaimed anyone yet. I'm telling you, man, Russell Westbrook is going to be collectible in 10 years. I'm telling you. Tell me a scenario where he's not. Who the fuck? He's Allen Iverson 2.0, but like with averaging a triple-double. He's like, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
A few people got it. A few people hear what you're putting down. Yeah, dude, Westbrook, Westbrook, the only vacancy on his resume is that there's no title.
The other thing that he has that nobody else has in history, quite like him, is like his absolute like freakish tenacity. Like he's a crazy man. He just you know what I'm talking about? Like his intensity is off the charts. And who doesn't like that?
This also is one of the things I really like in a player.
Passion.
Yes, this speaks to passion, but this is a little more specific. So Michael Jordan says Russell Westbrook reminds him of his younger self. The Thunder superstar was overwhelmed by the comparison, calling it crazy. Yeah, so Michael Jordan at one point in time said, this was around the time when Westbrook was going for MVP, and there was more to the quote. Some of the things in the quote were like Westbrook, just the tenacity that he plays with and how hard he plays. So like,
it's like a little bit of a screw loose, a little bit of a crazy person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a little bit crazy, no doubt.
You know how like home fans, people always talk about this on broadcast, but like home fans love that like bench player who comes in and just like goes balls to the wall and just have no regard for anything but hustle, and I feel like Westbrook is that, plus he's also super talented and he can like average big stats. It's like there's not that many guys who go balls to the wall and they're, you know, like a top 5 pick.
Yeah. So look, here's the quote Jordan said. 30 years ago, Russell Westbrook, that's me. The attitude, trying to prove myself, showing so much passion for the game of basketball. You see it in his play. You can tell he loves the game. He plays with energy and flair. That's all I need to hear.
A little funny side story. The guy who inspired me to collect the way that I do today, not to make this like a sappy fucking sob thing, his name is Nate, and he collected LeBron shiny cards, and he like got very specific about which LeBron cards he bought, and I used to like drool over his Flickr all the time, and I was like, dude, the way you collect, I just love it. You pick the sets you like, and you like go after the certain Topps Chrome refractors a certain way. He had like a bunch of gold PSA 10s that I've always wanted. Him and I chatted for many years. Like he was one of my original OG friends in the hobby, and he's since kind of like stepped away from it. But his other major PC was Russell Westbrook, And I always was like, why is, LeBron makes sense, but why did you collect Westbrook? And he's just, he was just like, man, I just love watching the guy play. It's like, it's very simple. Because this was a time when, people weren't making big bucks on cards. He was just sort of buying what he liked and buying players he liked. And he just connected with LeBron for, his flair and like his athleticism and, all LeBron is. But he also collected Westbrook for his insane tenacity and like the way he plays the game. And I've always sort of connected those two guys, LeBron and Westbrook, for that sort of, in that sort of manner because of, how Nate did it. And I just always thought that was interesting.
Nice. That's great. Westbrook had a really big moment last season. What was that moment? Oh, it was he passed Big O for most triple doubles all time. The guy has some really cool accomplishments in his years in the league, man. And now he's
averaged a triple double again.
Doesn't get much better.
Did he average a triple double last year?
I bet he was very close if he didn't.
Because so like the knock on him is like, all right, he's not that great of a shooter, but he like thinks he's really good and he just keeps shooting. It's like, please stop doing that. Which I get.
He averaged a triple double with ease. 22 points, 12 rebounds, and 12 assists.
It's like we're numb to it, but like, what the fuck?
That's not the first time he did that. Oh! Since today.
When is the guy going to get some damn credit for that? That is an incredible – this dude is playing against other professional NBA players every night for 82 games. It's not easy to do. I don't care if Steven Adams runs away and lets him get a rebound here and there. It's not easy.
No. Did you know that the Lakers and the Nets tip off the NBA preseason in 36 hours?
Is it in Brooklyn because Kyrie Irving won't be playing?
Oh, damn. Westbrook will not participate in the Lakers preseason opener on Sunday.
When Westbrook went to the Rockets, I was like, I really want to watch this. You and I talked about it. Remember that? We were like, I want to watch how this unfolds because I want to see how those two coexist. And LeBron's my favorite player of all time, and Westbrook is one of my favorite players. I'm fascinated to watch those guys play together. It's going to be must-see TV.
Yes, it is. Carbon points out that Westbrook's exquisite RPA was not out of 99, and obviously he's correct.
Sure.
It was out of 225.
Yeah.
It's a pretty neat-looking card. These cards started selling for big money when Westbrook broke that triple-double record. So here, the PSA 10 sold for $25,000 in May.
Man, I hope people don't watch this live and just go pump up his values because.
Oh, dude, this is pretty impressive as well. So Westbrook's player index has been pretty much at its all-time high. Like,
yeah, a lot of that's the Lakers thing, like LeBron and stuff.
Yep, no doubt. But yeah, Westbrook's market index is pretty much all-time high. His cards have 62x'd since he first hit the scene.
Can you think of a big three that's more interesting than LeBron, Westbrook, and Davis?
Oh, you're not including Carmelo to make a big four?
No. Did you watch the Blazers? He was like their fifth best player.
Dude,
no.
I am, in all due respect to our great friend Tim, Exquisite Collector, and anybody else who's a fan of Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony is a top 10 all-time scorer. He's a great player, had a great peak. But I think Carmelo Anthony is terrible. I think he is awful. I think he's a black hole when he's on offense. He just gets the ball. He starts jacking up shots. I think he is terrible.
He's never played with LeBron. We'll see. But he's going to be a spot-up shooter at best.
Well, then that'll be a good and improved role for him.
Dude, they have LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook. That dude ain't getting shit for.
He's not starting though, is he? No.
He in an interview today, they're like, "Would you be upset if you weren't a starter?" Like, we're not even sure if he's going to start. Like, he's not going to be doing much
He
of
didn't
anything.
start for the Trailblazers. He came off the bench.
I don't understand. The Lakers have too much depth. Is that weird to say? Like, I'm not even sure if Malik Monk is going to play. And, like, Kendrick Nunn, people are like, oh, I can't wait to watch Kendrick Nunn. Kendrick Nunn is going to get, like, 4 points a game. There's no points left.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I like Kendrick Nunn. I like Malik Monk. And I like Ariza and Bazemore and stuff. But, like, dude, these dudes aren't playing.
Yeah.
There's way too much, way too much, like, ball dominant players in that team for those guys to get anything.
Here's the only problem with that. On paper, having a bunch of depth is great because if there's an injury or something or just whatever, you never run out of solid role players to come in. The problem with that is chemistry, locker room wise. If you have good players who aren't getting any playing time, they're going to start complaining, and it's going to lead to locker room BS.
Well, they do that when they sign, though. So, like,
yeah,
I mean, they're gonna play. They're gonna play, obviously, but like, be honest with yourself. If you have LeBron, Davis, and Westbrook, how much do you really think you're gonna? How much shine do you really think you're gonna get? There's only one ball.
you are not shining.
Like, does anyone remember what DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin, or Joe Harris did for the Nets when all three of them played? It's like, dude,
Right.
you ain't touching the ball.
Yeah, so the way to be a valuable Laker this year is to be a 3-and-D guy.
And that ain't Carmelo.
No, although he's got the size, he's got the lateral quickness as a wing. Play some defense.
I'd rather have Malik Monk playing.
Yeah. And that very well may be the way it works out.
Which is fine, you know. They're just going to throw bodies at it and see what happens. They have so many lineups to figure out that, like, that team is just so many guys.
Yeah.
And, like, they also have, like, Wayne Ellington and, like,
Oh, do they still have Ben Gordon?
Jalen Horton. What?
Do they still have Ben Gordon?
Ben Gordon?
Or what's his
What is it,
name?
the 2004 Bulls?
Who is the 3-point shooter guy that they picked up from the Rockets?
Trevor
year?
Ariza?
No, not Ariza.
Dude, they, like, completely overhauled their entire roster. So, like, whoever you're thinking of, probably not.
Oh, you have Mac
Rondo?
McClung as well.
Oh, Macklemore? No, he's gone.
Yeah, it's like Ben Gordon. What the fuck?
They completely – dude, their team is, like – I could rattle off their whole roster. It's, like, literally – it's like LeBron and Davis and, like, Taylor Horton Tucker, and that's it.
You know who I'm talking about? He came over from
Ben McLemore.
Ben
Yes.
McLemore. Yes.
Gone.
Oh, okay. I liked him. I like Rondo and Dwight Howard coming back.
Sure. Yeah, Rondo, listen to this. I'll just rattle off names. Rondo, Howard, Carmelo, Westbrook, Davis, LeBron, Bazemore, Trevor Ariza, Malik Monk, Wayne Ellington, Taylor Horton Tucker. That's so many guys.
Yeah.
How are they all? Kendrick Nunn, Carmelo Anthony. I just it's like 10 guys right there.
Mac McClung. The new
No.
Alex Caruso.
No. Their youngest players are Malik Monk, Taylor Horton Tucker, and Kendrick Nunn.
I think the most important player that they added next to Russell Westbrook is Rondo. I think LeBron is like the only guy that Rondo has ever got along with, basically, who's like a superstar. And I think him coming back is huge for them.
If he hits those random wing threes, sure.
Dude, this is indisputable. He shoots over 40% from three in the playoffs on volume.
It's always like everyone stares at him and they're like, shoot that, I think. And it's like a wing three and he just fucking drills it.
On volume. It's dumb. It's stupid.
All right, please end this show.
Yep. Great show. The volume of our listeners.
DeAndre, I didn't even name DeAndre Jordan. I forgot about him. It's like
yeah,
DeAndre Jordan.
That's what can happen. Like we had like over 100 well into hour 3, if I recall correctly. So the durability of our listeners is going up. I cannot leave the chat up. I don't know how to save it. You can't save the chat. All right. See you guys next week.
Card Ladder, the best sports card app on the market. The future of sports cards is here. Card Ladder is the 21st century price guide and market analysis tool for sports cards. The best tools to help you track your cards. Watch the trends, stay informed, compare cards, and track the growth of your personal collection, all in one simple and intuitive platform. Join the innovators, not the imitators. The future is here. The future is now. Card Ladder.